Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Saying they mistreated Mapu.
I didn't say anything about mistreat. I think they made mistakes, Fred.
I think there was a reason why he was not dressed,
Yes.
and I think it might have helped him because I think he had his best game.
Okay, well, I think it hurt him.
You know, I've never coached in the NFL. You have, so you know more than I do.
You can't make a comment and say, I think he benefited from not playing.
I can make that comment. I
well,
just
then
did.
I think if he played every game, they'd have 5 more wins.
You're not
Finally,
saying
under
that,
him.
are you?
No, of course
Okay.
not.
You'll have to
Okay.
jog
Well,
my
there's a reason
memory.
you're not
But I
saying
think it's equally silly.
Why am what I'm saying is silly? I don't understand
Because you
why
don't.
it's silly.
Because that's why I asked you if you had anything to go on, anything
Paul,
to base it
Paul,
on.
we have nothing to go on with anything.
For your
This
reason.
is what Paul always does.
Like,
I
don't
have
get
an
it.
opinion.
No.
He has an opinion.
No.
But Paul, why can't I have my opinion? Who said you can't
No.
have your opinion?
I think he could have done what he did on Sunday, the previous 5 games had he played.
Yeah, I don't
As long
know.
as we're playing in fantasy land of having no idea what happened, we don't have to go through this when the guys come back.
No,
we
I
don't have
think
to bog it down again.
I'd just like to get their opinion. Maybe they agree with you, Paul.
The difference is I don't really care if they do or not.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday, I believe, here at Gillette Stadium, getting ready for a Saturday game against the LA Chargers. I got all that
That's
right.
a lot of confusion.
Yeah,
there.
a lot of confusion. It's Thursday, Saturday, LA instead of San Diego. That usually would, slip me up on the first take.
No Christmas hangover for you, Fred.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, did everyone have a good day yesterday?
Great
Great
day.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay.
Some good
Great
food.
day.
Good presents. Me and Alex both got pillows.
We
were
did
talking
get
about.
pillows.
You
Very
got
exciting.
pillows?
And pots. We both got pots,
And pots.
too.
Yep.
Pillows and pots.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Shout out Staub.
Paul,
I don't
what'd
know
you
what it
get?
says.
Any 3/4? Any hoodies?
Do you believe I did not get a single quarter
Everything
zip?
but 3/4 and
Yeah.
Which I was
How do we
kinda-
feel about this
kinda
one?
looking for.
Is that too
No, that's
long?
fine.
This is an
It's
oldie. It's an
appropriate?
oldie but goodie.
That's fine. Fine.
Yeah, no, good,
No vote on it.
good time. Good day. Good
Was.
day with a lot of family.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
How about you?
Great day with
Amazing.
grilled steaks.
Oh,
Yes.
I had
Oh,
steak too.
That was Tuesday night. I had.
You had steaks Tuesday night?
Had
Yeah.
steaks
Oh,
Tuesday.
you know what? I
night.
had
Really
a
good.
holiday roast actually.
A
you
holiday
really?
roast.
Yeah, it was wonderful. Thank
Okay.
you. Shout out to Nick and Sarah. It was beautiful.
All right.
Yep.
What was the best gift received by anyone in your house?
I'd say my 12-year-old got Jordans, and he was all fired up. And then
the old style ones?
No, I don't know. I couldn't even begin to tell
Oh.
you. But apparently they're the ones that everybody wants. And then I was like, oh, this is great because he needs new basketball shoes. He's been playing in basketball shoes that
He's
seem
not
a little
going
too
to play
small.
basketball.
And he's
in
like,
those.
what?
You kidding me?
And so
even
Paul
Fred
and Evan
knows.
explained to me today,
Yeah.
they're like, these are not basketball
Those are
shoes
for
for
styling.
basketball. You don't even, are you allowed to look at them? Like you just put them up.
That's
and-
for the dance. You go to the dance in those.
Get the crease
I mean,
protectors out.
immediately, they were. I didn't even know what a crease protector was. They were already in. Yep. So
Love it.
he was very excited. He
How
was-
about you, Alex?
You.
There were a lot of tears in my house on Christmas.
Bad presents?
surprisingly. No, like
Oh.
tears of joy, like
Oh.
happiness, sentimental. The best one I think that took a lot of effort is we got my stepdad. His family owns a chassis company, like Jocelyn Chassis. They build NASCARs. His father since passed, but we were able to track down like the really old logo of Johnson Chassis and get it embroidered on like some really nice Carhartt sweatshirts and
that's
stuff.
awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, there were tears. It was
Those are
nice.
really thoughtful gifts, those
Yeah.
types of things.
The logo is so hard to find too. My little sister was like digging 10 years back on Facebook
Yeah.
of like her uncle to find it, to
Yeah.
digitize it. So
I had a girlfriend. I lost my college diploma in a fire, and she like took the time to go to the school and get
Yeah.
a diploma.
that's nice.
cool.
That was nice.
Yeah.
That
like
is-
really
that's
thoughtful.
a good gift.
Yeah.
That's a good gift.
Yeah.
I got one more, Fred, that you might appreciate. I drew my mom and our family secret Santa, so I went and I tracked down an original menu from the Marshside restaurant, which
Oh,
was
wow.
our restaurant going up. So it's a menu from like the 60s. I actually showed Alex that,
awesome.
but it's got like
It's so
the
cool.
map of the Cape and like a fisherman drawn on. It was
Yeah.
before
Old
it was all
artwork
ads.
too.
So yeah, and it came like all plastered up. So I'm gonna frame it for her, but I showed her that. So we tracked down
Nice.
an old
Good
Marshside.
reaction?
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, it's like kind of it's hard to give people.
How about you,
things.
Paul? Was there a car with a bow in the driveway for you?
Another year went by without that. Maybe next year. We'll see. I love those commercials. Though.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
Absolutely
Never
love
happened.
those commercials.
would that it were.
So Will got himself a new driver, which was probably the best.
He got
gift.
himself it.
Someone to
Well,
drive him around.
He knew he was getting it because he had to get his massive discount for working at the PGA Superstore. But he sent it to like the Ping rep. He sent all the specs of what he wanted, like for the the head and,
Yeah.
and the shaft and grip and everything. So Beth and I made sure that he got that. But so
Nice.
he was really jacked up.
Nice.
Like he had opened like 4 or 5 gifts, and he obviously knew which one the driver was because it's
Yeah.
in this long box.
All right.
She didn't take it out of the box, Mike. Sorry. So he was like, I just gotta like take that. I gotta get the driver out, and he was really excited about
That's
it. And I
awesome.
got Beth one of those ottomans
Yeah.
that the top comes off, and there's like foot massager inside, like sharper image.
Oh,
kinda
yeah,
deal.
yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, you got
that-
one of those.
That went over really, really well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I might be out of trouble for at least 24 to
Okay.
48 hours.
All
Hold
right.
on.
Stop forgetting
Okay.
your anniversary. I mean, jeez.
My anniversary is like that,
Oh, right.
like this week.
It's the birthday.
Well, at least you had
Wow.
a Christmas. At least you
Mike's
had a
supposed
gift
to be
on
my
Christmas.
my ally.
Unlike Evan.
Having fun.
Evan's fiance told him what she wanted like months in advance, and he waited to the last minute, so it didn't get here on time.
Oh, jeez.
Isn't that so on
And it
brand
was
for
on.
Evan?
There was an amazing sale for it on Christmas Eve. Me and Tamara are like, you got to pull this trigger. Like, this is a big gift. Like, you got to take advantage of this
So he
sale.
ended up
he
not
did
getting
not.
it?
He didn't. No,
I thought he did.
It didn't get
Oh,
here
it
in
didn't get
time,
here.
and he didn't take advantage of the Black Friday sale.
So he played more,
What
and then he
was
had to
it?
go on. It's a sleigh
It's called a
station?
sleigh
Yeah.
station. It's essentially just a really high-end makeup vanity with
Oh.
the nice lights around the mirror and everything.
Like Barbie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
for
white, not pink.
Yeah,
For
for adults.
For adults.
White, real
Yes.
people.
White, not pink, and for actual humans.
Sleigh station.
Yeah, but
The
he ended up
sleigh
having to go
station.
out and get a bunch of like gifts that could be here.
They need to
on
rename
Christmas.
that.
Yeah. Huh?
I'm working blue here on that one.
Okay.
Oh,
We'll get you
I
in
see what
touch
you're
with
doing. I see what
their
you're
marketing
doing.
campaign.
All right. Well, listen. Patriots are back at it today. They're on the bowl field. They're inside.
Yeah, the
Quote,
media
unquote.
looked like they were just making their way back. Excuse me, as we were coming here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Large
it's-
media
It's a little
contingent.
chilly out there.
A little
I
bit.
I passed
Oh,
by.
it's
They were all
freezing.
waiting to get out there. A lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I also wonder though if they were doing the go out, come back in thing.
Oh,
too,
that could
maybe.
be. That could be,
Don't
yeah.
look at this part. Come back in.
Don't
later,
even
right?
look
That's-
at
Yeah, I
him.
know.
Pay no attention to
around.
that man behind.
Walk out.
So they're out
Wizard
there.
of
We'll
Oz
hear from
reference.
Evan when he comes back. We're going to do picks today. And at some point, Evan, maybe the three of you are going to go check out the locker room at
Yeah.
about 1 o'clock.
Yeah, they're. I
You'll
think
come
one-
back before picks, though, right?
Yeah,
Fred,
we'll be
it's
back by
already a
1:30.
bad start for picks for us.
Yeah.
I know.
We've spotted
Oh,
them like
Paul,
multiple games. We
our-
don't have a feel.
our feel for the league, particularly that Pittsburgh game,
Oh.
failed me.
I took the points with Houston. They weren't even competitive.
Yeah.
At least Pittsburgh was in the game for a while.
Right, but
Yeah.
I thought for sure Pittsburgh was going to make a show of it, and they collapsed.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Paul said, second half, it was awful.
That Fryer move.
And then the second
fumbled.
game, Baltimore looks like a wagon right now.
You think Lamar is making a case for the MVP?
Well, he's had an unbelievable year.
Yeah.
Oh.
Some of the numbers I saw. have
Well,
been thrown up
I don't know
there.
if you want to get into the whole MVP story, but I still say that Josh Allen, to me,
Yeah.
is the most valuable to his team. You know, because Lamar absolutely, if you want to do offensive player of the year, it's Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But, like, he's got Derrick Henry, and I just think he's got more.
How do you think they'd be without him?
But all these teams, how would the Chiefs be without Mahomes?
But that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
I think all those guys are very worthy for that.
Oh, of
for
course.
the literal term that you like to
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
Because I think they would all be nothing
Oh,
without their
absolutely.
quarterbacks.
There's no doubt.
Those three teams.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think the
Not
Bengals
nothing,
would
but
be
you know what I
nothing
mean.
without Burrow, even though
Yeah.
the record's not great, but they'd be even worse
Yeah.
without him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you get,
last year they found a way to keep winning when he got hurt.
yeah, oh, that's true.
And Baltimore's really fallen apart in the
Yeah.
I know it's a little different with Tyler Huntley trying to
Yeah.
play like the last few years.
Yeah,
Was Cincy's record better last year without Burrow than they were this year with him? I don't know if that's
No.
true or not, but yeah.
No, but they
It's
kept
interesting
winning
kinda-
games. They kept
yeah.
winning games last year.
Yeah.
And they ended up going 9-8. They're probably going to go 9-8 this
One
year
of those
too.
weird anomaly things.
but Jackson he just makes it look so easy.
Yeah.
And like the way he extends those plays and just keeps his eyes downfield, and then when he runs, like he doesn't seem like he's going that fast, but he is.
That's that ridiculous athleticism when it doesn't appear as if you're running as fast as you can, and they're just gliding.
Yeah,
Gonzalez too, like just those guys, super athletes.
And how many touchdowns does he have now? Like 40?
Something like he's been involved in like 40 of them.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
it's impressive. It's impressive.
Yep. And then the rushing yards and everything. He broke what's it? He broke Michael Vick's record.
Yeah,
he has the most rushing yards.
Yeah.
By a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
No.
So just incredible stuff, and the Chiefs now look better than they have all season in that one game.
They're starting to peak, right? I don't know,
Covered 2 spreads in a row.
Yeah.
Get healthy a little bit.
They just know how to win.
They're
going to be tough. They're going to be tough. But I still think the Bills might have what it takes to get over the hump, at least get to the Super Bowl. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting.
I mean, do you think there's a chance that Kansas City AFC Championship maybe are underdogs? Any chance of that? You think maybe?
Not at home. Not at home.
Because you get 3.
Yeah.
You do get 3.
Yeah, you get 3. But in terms of the draft standings, Patriots right now sit at 2, I believe, right?
Yeah. Which is now like got me.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to feel about it because Buffalo's going to be out of the running now for.
Yeah, I think they'll
Dubai.
probably be locked into 2, right?
I don't know. I mean, if they were
They
to
can't
win,
get 1. They're out of 1.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Buffalo. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, but the Patriots, like, if they were to just like pull off a win against the backup laden Buffalo team here, and then all of a
It
sudden
could
fall
happen.
from. Like, I'm all for, like, I didn't really want the number 1 overall seed, but like I don't want to go if they're at 2 goals.
So Paul, I'm going to ask you this because
Buffalo needs to beat the Jets this week. If they do, then that game,
nothing.
there's a chance
Now,
that no one plays.
you and
for
I,
them.
Paul, are on board. Let's win games. It's just better for the team. But if they lose to the Chargers and they go into that last game, and if they win, who knows where they'll end up? Or if they lose, they stay at 2 or 1. What would you say about tanking that one game?
I'd rather lose.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a big
Well, you made
deal.
it this far with all
Right,
these losses.
yeah, right.
So it's like,
Just play
and
it
you
safe.
made it this far with all these losses
Yeah.
without blatantly tanking.
Yeah,
So you might
right.
as well just
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
ripping
and
it.
it's not a big deal because I don't really think there's much in the draft that is going to change, in those spots. But you don't get the bump from just winning one game,
Right.
and you certainly are not going to get the bump from beating the Bills JV,
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to play, I think.
Yeah.
'Cause assuming the Bills beat the Jets, they're locked into 2.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to play the following week.
I wonder how
Some
hard
of
you're gonna-
those guys at least will be resting. I think they rested a bunch of guys last week.
I wonder if the Bills put all their backups in and we play our starters, I wonder how hard you have to try to lose that game. Or are the Bills still that much better than you that,
God. it's
Yeah,
such a
and that could
weird
go,
position.
because you could see some young guys playing for the Bills, guys that haven't played that much, and they're
Right.
playing hard.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
you
true.
could see that
Yeah.
if that's the way it unfolds.
Keelan
I don't know. I
Coleman.
don't know exactly what to expect. Those games are always hard to predict.
Yeah.
Those Week 18 games, who's playing?
So we're kind of rooting for the Jets then, maybe to pull off an upset this week and make Buffalo have to play everybody.
You
and
want
win.
that? You like that?
Well, I
You
would
want
say
that.
if the Jets won this week, then the Buffalo, it means something for them next week, and then they got to play
Yeah,
their
because
guys.
they can't. They
already,
don't
you
want
know?
to finish tied with Baltimore because then they would lose the
Yeah.
tiebreaker.
Yeah.
See, in that case, if the Bills are playing all their starters, then I kind of
Right.
want to win the game, just to finish on that, high note of beating a playoff team.
Right, and they fall to like
Yeah,
the 3
so
or 4 seed.
there's a lot of variables going into Week 18. But
Yeah.
right now we're in Week 17, 1 o'clock game on Saturday. How do we feel about that? Do we feel we have a shot?
I don't want to respond in a way that sounds like no, not really.
cares?
No, I do not.
Paul's playing out the string.
I think they have. I think they have a shot.
As
Like,
much as any team does any week, but I just look. The Chargers really need this game. They're trying to peak at the end of the season. I think it looks like it's gonna be a little wet, maybe. So we'll see how the Chargers handle that. But I mean, if the Chargers are what they think they are, and they're telling us they are, and everyone's telling us they're a tough team and run the ball, and all these things that, this is a game that they should win.
Well, in that respect, it is a good test for the Patriots' run defense because it's been suspect.
I mean, suspects putting it kindly. I mean, I think if you've heard it from Mayo the last, however many weeks, like, I mean, what went wrong? Run defense, like run fits and tackling, like just the fundamental stuff. And you hear it right from the coaches too. You call it a test. I'm like, geez, are you expecting them to suddenly be able to do it? I'm not. And that's why I lean towards the Chargers.
Yeah. I was watching Ted Johnson on one of his shows on NBC Sports Boston. He was with Phil Perry, and he was diagramming that play that ended up being the touchdown. And he just said there was like 4 or 5 guys that just did the wrong thing on that play.
Yeah.
You know?
Mapu among them and
Yeah.
Keon White and over pursuing and just, you know, yeah, not good, not good. I mean, I guess it does sound like J.K. Dobbins was back at practice who, you know, first 2 weeks rushed for over 130 yards. I mean, he's, you know, pretty good back. He's been out for over a month now. So, yeah, we'll see if they get him back.
So they're going to want to give him some reps to get him ready for the playoffs.
Maybe,
you know?
Gus,
boy.
him and the Gus bus. I mean, it's, you know, it's, I mean, interesting though. It's like you've been saying it a lot, Paul. It's like, you know, on paper, that's what, or not even paper. Like I think everyone talks about this being their identity of being able to run the ball, and it's like, well,
But they're not very
are they
good
really
at
that
it.
good at it, or are they just, you know? But that's who we are, you know. That kind
No,
of
I just feel like that's Harbaugh has always wanted to be, you know, sort of a physical, run-oriented team, and Greg Roman was always his coordinator in San Francisco when they were doing that at their best, and that's what they have now. They're not, you know, they don't have the personnel to do it. Like they're not a really good running team. That's how they want to play, and that's what you say that do they have a shot? I think the way that I almost called them San Diego, like you.
I know.
I always do that.
So the way the Chargers play, I think you'll have a shot because they don't blow anyone out.
Yeah.
They don't. First of all, they don't have any wide receivers, so they're not going to like throw it all over the yard on you and light up the scoreboard. They're going to run the ball, and then they're going to throw the ball to Ladd McConkey, and maybe Quentin Johnston
Take
catches
shots
a
to
touchdown.
Johnson, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was just thinking back to 2019 when I think it was Greg Roman with the Ravens, right? And they ran all over the Patriots. And granted, Lamar totally different, but still, that's what they're going to do when they come in here.
Yep.
Try to run it that way.
All right. Did people watch the Christmas games yesterday on Netflix?
I tried
For a little
They were
bit.
just so bad. I could I just couldn't get into it. You
I
know?
feel bad
Because
for
of the
Netflix.
games or the quality of the
The broadcast was
Yeah.
fine on my end in terms of the streaming and everything,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Just both time I turned on the games, they were out of hand and not all that
Yeah.
interesting.
What
For
did
all
you
the
think
talk
about-
the NFL trying to like take over Christmas, the basketball games were really good last night.
Yeah.
Like that Warriors
Freaking Celtics,
Lakers
though,
game
man.
was
What the hell?
awesome.
Yeah.
Lost what, 4 out of 7 last
Yeah.
7 or something like that.
Little
It's
skid.
not good for them. But
Little skid.
so what did you think about Netflix talent? Like they had people all over the place from all different networks.
I didn't even. Who was it? I didn't even
They
take
had
it.
like
Well,
they
they had
had
J.J.
Mina
Watt.
on the desk, kind of doing like the halftime, like NFL Live type setup. It was like Mina Kimes, Kay Adams. They had Jamie Erdahl on the sideline, Manti Te'o,
Te'o.
RG3.
Yeah.
So they're just kind of taken from everybody.
Yeah,
huh?
they
They're
had
taking-
J.J.
Yeah.
Watt in the booth.
Probably
with
spent
Ian
a lot
Eagle.
of money to.
Ian Eagle.
Iron Eagle.
I thought it was funny that J.J. Watt was in the booth while his brother was playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a play that he got held, J.J. Watt got held on, and he was like talking about it, and I was
Yeah.
like, that's got to be kind of weird.
A little
Yeah.
conflict of
Yeah,
interest.
you know, like, my brother would have had a
Right,
sack on that
right.
play, but you know, clearly he cheated. You know.
Yeah. No, I thought they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Netflix, and my stream was perfect. Paul had problems, and Peter.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible. It just kind of looked like a Madden
Get
sim.
glitchy sometimes.
You know?
Yeah.
Only during the Baltimore game, I kind of noticed the glitchy, and
Oh,
I
yeah?
wonder if maybe the early game people are still eating and kind
Could
of
be.
doing stuff,
More
but
people.
then the Baltimore game, more people are kind of
Yeah.
paying attention to it.
I
That
just
could
thought
be.
it didn't look like an actual broadcast.
What do you think about playing, not necessarily on Christmas, but playing on a Wednesday?
Yeah, both of them I didn't like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the Wednesday part.
So what
is really
happens
tough.
when Christmas is on a Tuesday? How's that going to work? Is it an extension of the week before,
Oh, boy.
or is it a game for the week ahead? Because that's a tough spot, right? This game was for this week,
Yeah.
this Wednesday. But what do you do if it's a Tuesday?
So you got to be a Thursday. Like, do you have a double Thursday header and then both teams? You take one team from each of the two matchups on Thursday and then make them play on Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like you have to kind of get them, have their early
Yeah,
match
but-
bye to that
And
too.
then that's
like,
such a late buy to have after that to make up
But
for
then-
it. It's like I don't know.
But
what
if
you
it's
do.
the week ahead, then
yeah.
I mean, if it's oh,
I guess
it's
Tuesday's
tough.
only the day, right?
Yeah.
If you did it
Maybe
Wednesday,
if you
Because
play
if
on
you
like
do it-
the Thursday
if
of the
If
following
you do it
week?
as an extension of Monday Night Football, then you're played on Tuesday, and then you're going to play again
Yeah.
on Saturday or Sunday.
yeah,
You know,
Tuesday, complicated day.
yeah.
Try to jam it in NFL.
So I'm, like I enjoyed having games on Christmas. I just, from a player standpoint, I'm not sure that they're taking into consideration how tough it is to play football.
Yeah, I mean
and,
that's
and the time you need to recover.
saw Andy Reid get asked about it. I mean, they're just,
Yeah.
there's nothing they can say. They just all skirt around it and are like, I'll let you answer that yourself. But clearly, I
Yeah.
mean, it's really, especially at this time of year. I mean, I don't know. Maybe right now, as Kansas City sits here, they're probably like, it was great. We just banged out a bunch. Now we got a week and a half off. Like, you know, it's almost an extra bye for them before they go on another bye. So maybe they're even talking about, are we not playing enough football over the next month to get ready for the playoffs? Are we going to be rusty now because, you know, now they're going to have, 2 games?
I'm sure the way the league sold it to the Players Association is the money. You know, we bring in more money, that raises the salary cap. You guys get 50%.
Doesn't that amaze you that they fall for that?
Yeah.
I mean, I know they don't have any choice. It's not like because they don't need to.
But it is
They don't
real.
need to sign off on it.
They
But
get-
they don't see it.
Yes, they do. They get 51% of the revenue.
Yeah, but like Patrick Mahomes will see it.
No, but I
The
think
guys that are killing themselves won't,
Well,
because they're not going to get
I
paid.
think the lower, but I
and
think
they'll get cut when they're not like effective anymore.
sure, but relatively speaking, it raises everybody's.
It raises the pool. You're right,
Yeah.
but it's not something that the vast majority of their workforce is ever going to see.
Yeah.
Trickle down.
And I
So
just
that's
feel like
great
the
that,
NFL is
like-
going to rake in money no matter what.
Right, 3 teams. I think it was 3 out of the 4 of those teams played 3 games in 11 days. I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. Right, like. Most of those guys are never going to see that. Like the special teamer that's killing himself running down the field is just going to end up getting cut in 2 years. He's not going to see that because great, the salary cap went up.
Yeah.
Just a little
Yeah.
carrot dangled.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they don't have to. It's not like they buy. I shouldn't say that they fall for it because it's not like they don't have to sign off on it. They don't have to give their okay. The
Yeah.
NFL can do it just like they're going to put the 18th game in.
Yeah.
They don't need permission. They're going to do it.
No, but that has to be bargained. It does. Why are you saying no?
Because it doesn't.
Why?
They go to the Players Association out of a courtesy. They do not need their permission.
I thought in order to do that they had to. It affects their paycheck, because it's
I'm just telling you, they don't have to do it.
Okay. I thought it had to be bargained in. Anyway, Evan's here.
Evan has returned from practice. Evan has returned from practice. Yeah, Evan has returned from practice. What was the mood? Who wasn't there? What did he see?
All right, Evan, in from the bowl.
Yes, in the stadium today. I still haven't gotten to the bottom of exactly why we're in the stadium, but in the stadium the last couple days.
Oh, is this a bone of contention among the scribes?
No, absolutely not. It's actually nicer because the stadium blocks the wind and everything, so it's probably a little bit warmer.
Shorter
I
walk.
would say in the stadium, shorter walk. Yeah, I like.
Okay.
It's better.
Yeah.
It's better.
It's just cool being in the stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Look
that
up at
too.
those banners.
Sure.
I walked past the crowd in the service tunnel. A lot of media today.
Yes. There was more media today.
I heard they're giving away sushi.
Yeah, I was going to shout that out, actually. That's where I just came from. So Karma Sushi was here, and they had quite the spread for everybody. So that was very
Karma
nice.
Sushi, where are they?
They have a couple different locations. Andover might be the closest one.
Okay.
Yeah, but they have a few of them. They have they might have one in Canton. Now that I think about it,
Oh.
I'll look it up. I don't want to.
What'd you have?
I had a little bit of everything. Yeah, it
And
was
brought
good.
none for us.
I did not. No, I thought that it's not exactly a thing that you eat
Fish
on the
doesn't travel,
radio.
raw
It's
fish.
but it was very
Do
very
you
good.
use chopsticks?
I do, but like I'm not good at it. I
Okay.
will fully admit that I am not good
Okay.
at it. But had some yellowtail, had some crab, some
gotta go
avocado
take a walk.
roll.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very good.
All
So
right.
Karma Sushi is the name.
Karma
of the place.
Sushi with a K.
Yes,
Okay.
Karma with a K.
Like the Taylor Swift song.
Exactly like
You
the
were right.
Taylor Swift.
What?
About the 18th game. They do need permission for the 18th game.
Okay.
There is another. I'm confusing it with something else, but yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. I looked it up because the way you looked at me, I was like, maybe I got that one wrong. So I did, and until the end of the CBA in 2030, they would have to have
Yeah.
the Players Association permission for the 18th game.
So maybe they'll just wait until then. But you know what's coming. Anyway.
Of course.
Evan, any thoughts about the games yesterday or football on Wednesdays or anything like that?
Yeah, admittedly didn't watch a ton of Ravens Texans. I was watching the Celtics, but the early game we did watch, and I don't know. It seemed like in both games that two teams that were ready to play on a Wednesday and two teams that weren't ready to play. Now those are two of the best teams in the NFL, so maybe they would have blown doors anyways. But obviously two very uncompetitive games, and it just kind of felt like there was a little bit of a different level preparedness
Yeah,
for the games.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, look, it's not going to happen every year that it's going to have to be on a Wednesday. So
Yeah.
I guess
What happens when a Christmas falls on a Tuesday? Is it a game that counts for the week before, or is it a game for the next week?
That's a good question. I don't know, but I actually really the one time I agreed with LeBron James in his
Same.
post-game press conference.
Same.
He said Christmas is the NBA's day. Like, leave us alone, NFL. And the NBA games yesterday were awesome. All 5 of them, awesome games. So I was like, he's not wrong. The NBA was the NFL will probably do better ratings and all that stuff, but the NBA product was much better yesterday.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah,
That's
2029, Fred. That'll be when Christmas is on the Tuesday the next time.
Okay.
2029.
So we don't got to worry about it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right. And then we talked briefly about the Chargers game coming up on Saturday. Do you give us a shot?
I do, because I don't think the Chargers offense is an offense that has put up 40 points a game, this year or anything crazy like that. So they're 19th in the league in scoring right now. They're a good offense, but they're not a great offense. So I do think that they have a chance to at least hang on the scoreboard because of that. And I look at the Chargers passing game, and as great as Herbert is, it's really Ladd McConkey and kind of a whole bunch of Jags. Other than that, does Quentin Johnson scare you? Does Josh Palmer scare you? Probably not, especially after what they did to Buffalo. So I would expect them to have a pretty similar plan for McConkey as they did Khalil Shakir, and just try to take out the middle of the field and take away McConkey, and then if Quentin Johnston beats you on the outside, then he beats you.
It's so funny how quickly it changes. I'm still just remembering Fred being like, watch this Ladd McConkey kid, and now here we are talking about we got to take McConkey away from him.
He's their best player on offense besides Justin Herbert in terms of, skill positions. Their backs aren't even anything crazy either. It's McConkey and it's Herbert in the passing game.
So do you want to win this game? From a draft standpoint?
I don't know. I think this one, yes. I think next week, if they beat the Bills' backups, I'm going to be really annoyed.
That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
Even Paul and I are saying, if we get that far, probably just lose the next game.
If they win this week and show really well against a team that needs the game, then I feel like that says something.
It's worth the win.
Yeah, it's worth it.
It's worth the loss of the slot.
Right. Especially, this isn't Denver last year. The Chargers are a legitimate team in the AFC power, so I'd be down for a win on Saturday.
I mean, if the Bills have nothing to play for next week and they're playing their backups, how and we're playing our starters.
Yeah.
How much of a difference then is it? Are they still that much better than the Patriots, or will it be tough to lose that game?
It'd be tough to lose to Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah.
I don't mean tough from a morale standpoint. I mean, technically. How bad would the Patriots have to play to lose to a bunch of backups?
I think pretty bad.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Mitch Trubisky's bad. They should be.
He's won NFL games.
They should be able to play defense on Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, and keep the game low scoring on that side of the ball defensively. If they can't stop Mitch Trubisky in a Week 18 game, then we got problems.
Yeah. Give Ramondre 30, 40 carries. Probably will work out okay. A couple fumbles.
Yeah.
Wow.
You said
I knew
it.
where he was going.
You said it. I didn't.
Wow.
I also didn't give a practice
Run
attendance.
it again.
So I can do that if we want.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah,
All right,
Let's talk
so
about it.
Evan,
Yeah.
your job is to actually go out and see what's going on in practice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what was the attendance like?
So there was 2 players missing from Patriots practice on Thursday. They were Marcus Jones, who remains out with that hip injury.
Could use him on McConkey.
So it sounds like I would not expect him to play at this point, and I would also not expect Ben Brown to play, still not practicing with that concussion. Mayo was pretty close to the vest, kind of Belichickian this morning about who's going to start at center for the Patriots. I felt like wouldn't really give a straight answer on that. So I would expect it to be Cole Strange, but Lacita Smith is another name he threw out there and sort of left the door open for it to be either one of those guys.
Okay, maybe they split reps. Who knows?
Yeah.
Just love to see Strange. Hope he's ready though.
Yeah.
It's a good point though about splitting, because I don't know if you can rely on Cole Strange, who hasn't played a game in almost a full year now,
Right.
right?
Plus.
Yeah.
It was around this time last year that he was
Yep.
the Chiefs game, I think, the one that
Yep.
he got hurt in.
Yep.
So, You can't expect him to go
Yeah.
wire to wire.
Shells.
Shells, yeah, light practice attire this week. Saturday game, short week 17, so they haven't been in full pads this week.
And do you see anything but warm-ups?
We saw one period, and they put the offensive line in the total opposite corner of where the media was fitting. But we did see one period. One little thing I did notice that I think it might be on the injury report. Jelani Tavai was wearing a club on his hand, so he's dealing with something with that. So he was he had that, the ball on the hand, all rolled up and everything. So that was interesting. That was something that we saw because we were in the stadium. We're a lot closer to the players than we are when we're out on the practice field. So you really are like right in front of them.
Do they just made me think, for offensive linemen, do they ever make the guys wear those things so they can't hold in practice?
It's possible. I know that they use the pads on the hands for the DBs in drills, but they give them like almost like boxing pads, to put on their hands, and that's how they avoid, being able to grab and things like that.
Yeah.
Anything with Caden Wallace? That's one piece. Love to.
No, and I'm with you. I mean, I think it's clock's ticking to get a chance to see him play at all before the year is out. So I know he played earlier in the year, but it was one start against the Jets.
I don't know why in my memory I mean maybe it was just preseason we saw him so much, but I look back and I was like, wow, he really didn't play much at all in those that first month that he was healthy.
Nope.
Would you say the mood was festive day after Christmas?
Festive, I would say that the free sushi definitely helped.
Okay.
The mood was very high.
Well, I was talking about the players first,
I thought you were talking about us.
Oh, I'll get to
because
them.
we matter a lot.
I'll get to them.
The players, no, I think it was pretty workmanlike today. I mean, we haven't been in the locker room yet because we're doing that later today. So, but I thought it was pretty normal vibe. No, no holiday hangovers. Hopefully.
And in terms of the scribes,
yes.
Any talk about gifts, things they got, the day that they had yesterday, anything like that? Anybody look hungover?
No hungover people that I saw. A lot of talk about what the kids got, obviously around the scribes, which I do not partake. Have no kids, so I don't. We don't really talk about that amongst the.
I know. I heard
my group.
I heard your guy this morning. On
my guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Barth.
Yes, he's on. Yeah, he's complaining about how early he had to wake up.
But he's talking about college football, and they were doing
can't help himself
things that boomers say or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was him and Andrew Callahan was on for I think the first 3 hours, and then Kendra was on with doing on the third.
Caught a little with them as I was driving in.
Yeah.
They got good chemistry.
Okay.
We're just desperately trying to set Barth up with anyone.
Don't tell me about it. Like literally anyone.
At one point he's just like, "Are you feeling this
he's
right
single,
now?"
ladies. All right.
Maybe it was me. It was here a few minutes ago, but
he talks to one girl in the media corps, and we're like, "Oh my God, something going on."
Poor Barth.
What's that?
Literally anyone.
I mean, he may not be interested. I don't know.
I don't need to go that deep on it, but
Wait, why do you have to get up
college
early?
football.
because it's 6 a.m.
Oh, because he had to be on the
10.
radio. Oh, I got
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's your report from the practice.
Poor
That's
Alex.
Brought to you by Karma Sushi.
Yes. There you go.
There was no one grousing about, I don't like sushi.
So that was the thing when we were walking back.
I was thinking about
did-
that. I
that's a
feel
good
like our
point.
media is not the sushi demographic.
Can you cook it?
Well, I don't know.
did
These
say
young
that.
kids these days.
Can
they
anybody
all
eat
like
sushi? What's the demographic to eat sushi?
I don't know.
Is that a thing?
Well, the older people like me,
No one
I feel like
we tend to shy away from it.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed,
okay.
at least.
Yeah. But it's all young
I didn't
people
know.
now.
See,
Yeah.
I learned
Yeah.
so much. Alex teaches me so much.
I
This
mean,
is just my waitressing experience. It's nothing actual factual. It's just my observations.
So it's like an age.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I think
you
so.
don't see a lot of older people eating sushi.
Unless they're Japanese or.
Yeah.
I don't think so, at least.
My dad loves
My
sushi.
dad loves sushi, but I think he's an outlier in my life.
Yeah.
Who of the media was most excited to eat sushi?
Besides you,
Besides me,
You were
I was pretty excited.
Taylor Kyles?
No. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
well.
He's
I'll
young.
just I'll
I'm
just
thinking of young guys.
I'll say one because he's excited just to wake up in the morning, and that's Dan Roach. Like Dan
Oh,
Roach.
really?
Yeah, Roach is just like
He was excited to eat it.
Yeah. Oh, anything
Okay,
happens.
so it breaks the boomer thing.
I don't know. I actually don't know if he ate it or not.
Oh.
I am assuming because Roachy, a big smile, taking pictures, like greeting all the people, the service people, and everything. It's
So I'm thinking of an older guy.
Reese must have liked it, right?
maybe.
I'm thinking
I
of an
don't know.
older person who would be there. Was Alan Siegel there?
He was not.
He was not there.
No, I didn't see him there.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see him there. But we talked about that on the walk back over, that sushi, you either love it or you hate it, and there's really no in between. So that it could be a huge hit or it could be not a huge hit. So
I'll eat some sushi, but I'm not into like the exotics, like eel or something like that.
eel's probably my
Sign me
favorite.
up.
Really?
honestly.
Is
Yeah,
that right?
Fish eggs
Yeah.
on top. I'll do anything.
eel avocado rolls is one of my go-tos.
Okay.
My
Yeah.
favorite
I'm more
is
of a
like
tuna spring roll type
Yeah,
of guy.
that's
spicy
fair.
tuna with like a hot sauce and fish eggs on
Yeah,
That
top.
sounds like
Spicy
stuff
tuna
that
is
even I
great.
could eat.
Yeah.
Spicy tuna is great, obviously classic, but eel, what I like about the eel is that it's smoked, so it's like cooked a little bit, so it's not fully raw.
Oh, okay.
So
I
that's
thought it was raw.
no, so that's why I like it, because I don't love the raw stuff. Like I'll eat all of it, but it's not my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
You know,
worms.
Good sushi talk.
I can
Say
take
eat
it. I
worms?
can take sushi or leave it.
worms.
All right.
Hey, what do you think of
True.
this Pete Carroll?
Yeah.
Pete Carroll for
Chicago
the Bears?
Bears.
So somebody brought this to my attention. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's interesting. With all the comments about Pete Carroll being interested in going to the Bears, he said there wasn't one comment he's too old. And yet he's older than Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying Bill Belichick's too old.
Right.
And it
right.
just shows you that, like, perception.
I think
Yeah.
a lot of Bears
Also-
fans feel that way, though.
Yeah, if I were a Bears fan, I'd
Yeah.
be saying.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll doesn't look his age though. Like he
No,
takes
he's-
amazing
He
care of
is in
himself.
great, like unbelievable
amazing care
condition.
of
But I
himself.
would, if I were a Bears, I'm with Evan. If I were a Bears fan, I'd be saying he's too old.
Yeah.
I don't want a guy to do
yeah.
it for another 2 years if it works.
Yeah, we were just talking about Kendra. So she's a Jaguars fan, and she said that this isn't a retirement home, right? Like she wanted nothing to do with it. Pete Carroll or any of those older coaches, because of that exact point. Like even if it works, how
like,
long is it working for?
Like it has to be like a Super Bowl for it
Right.
to work and be
Right.
worth it.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Let's get to the TPX hotline, 855-PATS-500. Deshaun's in West Virginia. What's up, Deshaun?
Good morning, guys. How you guys doing?
Hey, Deshaun.
Good. I would like to say, like, first of all, I would not like for them to win these last two games for a reason, because, like I told you, I want the plan to be fulfilled. But also, when it comes to giving credit to the rest of these teams, not to sound like a hater, but the league sucks for the most part. I mean, like, there's only about a good few teams or whatever, and you have a lot of quarterbacks, yeah, they're talented, but they can't really decipher plays behind the line of scrimmage. They can't read coverages or whatever. So it goes to show that when the QB for Houston, when he was inaccurate or whatever, he can lace the ball on to his receivers, but he looked clueless as well. It's like a lot of those quarterbacks. They're really talented, but they don't have the skills to read coverages like that. Unless you're special like LeBron Jackson, where you can be a substitute to the rule. But the league sucks for the most part. That's all I really wanted to say.
Okay. Thanks, Deshaun.
I'm just going to say this is probably like the 24th year in a row I've gotten
Quarterbacks
calls
can't
about how
read
bad the
coverage.
league is, and the league sucks. There's no good teams. There's like 4 good teams in the league, and it just seems like we change the names of the teams.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
But it
you and
seems
Andy
like
have been saying it for years.
Every year, everybody complains that the league stinks.
Or that the quarterbacks can't read coverages anymore. That's a common
yeah.
one too.
I think this year there are, I don't know, I haven't done the study, but it seems like there's more teams than normal that have really bad records.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah,
know?
there's
I think that's
we
accurate.
were talking about it last week that if the Patriots win some games down the stretch, they can go from like 1 to 9, in the draft order
God.
just by winning a game.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of 3-4 win teams
The
right
Raiders
now.
just went from 2 to 6, I think,
Yeah.
Do you
with
think,
1 win.
Yuck.
do you think we're trending more towards that way, or do you think this is an anomaly in terms of the record thing? Because I really do think there's a lack of good talent. I think the talent pool is diminishing, and it's starting from youth football on up.
I think there's an issue right now with finding that middle ground of practice time versus what the NFLPA has been bargaining for, which is, less contact and things like that. And if you want to develop line play, if you want to develop offensive lines and
You got to get guys that play the line.
you got to get guys that
To paraphrase
you got to
Matt Groh.
get you got to get the guys in the pads, right? Like you got to hit. Like you're not going to develop tackles.
So then the reasoning would be that there's teams, the better teams, just because of talent, don't need as much of that development.
Can I ask a question about this that you're bringing up? Because you think that the talent pool in general is smaller, it's shrinking.
It's shrinking.
And I have nothing to deny that. Like,
Yeah.
I have nothing to combat that. But why would that mean there are more teams with really bad records?
Because I think that, across the board, there's a big drop-off from their best players to when they get deeper in their roster.
Like that I would understand if you said, like, that's why the league, the overall, like Deshaun's point was the league is not very strong right now. The caliber of play is not great in the league.
The middle class isn't good. So if you have the...
No, but you're saying there's no talent in the league, so that should be
there's
widespread. Well, there's less talent, so why? So
right, because
all the good players are on two teams?
All the good players are on some of the teams, and those teams are able to combat the fact that the rest of their roster isn't as good as it used to be because their studs are that much better.
Yeah, I don't think that that's accurate.
Okay.
I mean, I do think your other point is extremely accurate. I think that the talent pool is diminishing. And I think that part of it is COVID because there's so many kids that are in school for, how many different.
Yeah.
You hear Cam Rising's going back to Utah for like a 7th year?
Yeah, I mean, and NIL too. And
NIL makes it worth their while to stay now.
Yeah.
So I do think.
But eventually they come out.
No, I know, but like. You're seeing, I think, a sort of a diminished pool right now because instead of all those underclassmen, what was it, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there was like over 100 underclassmen, and that number got cut by like 2/3.
So you think eventually it'll
probably
get better?
catch up and even off, but I don't think that explains why there are really good records and really bad records, and there's like no middle class, because I don't think that would manifest itself. Like, is it rational to suggest there's not as many good players, but they're all in Kansas City and Baltimore?
Right.
Like, no. Like, if the talent is down, it's down across the league. That doesn't explain the disparity in records, because you're right about the amount of 3-12 teams is huge.
Yeah.
But didn't it seem like years ago, like the really good players, there were more really good players, and now
I agree.
And now
with you.
there's less really good players. To bring records up.
I definitely think the NIL thing is a factor because we see it in the draft every single year. The draft gets thinner and thinner because all these underclassmen are getting paid to go back to college. And so a lot of these players are going back to college and playing and holding off on the pros. And so you're getting to the point now where really the draft is like 4 or 5 rounds deep. And then once you get to like the 5th, 6th, 7th round, those guys would be like UDFAs in other years, but they're now getting drafted earlier because there's not enough talent, depth in the draft.
I mean, it's probably a bigger topic than just sort of shooting something off the top of your head. Oh, yeah.
Do you think it ever could get to the day where kids make so much money in their college career they say, what, I don't need to go to the
Set
pros
for life.
and deal with all that. I'll just go into now my second career because I've got money in the bank.
Yeah.
I could probably retire now if I wanted to, but I'll do something that I really enjoy without having to beat my brains in and
really
deal with all the,
interesting.
Really
interesting.
It totally
Imagine like you just leave college with like a mil or
nest egg?
something. You start investing in like real estate or something, and you just never have to work again. 'cause-
Especially if you're a reasonably well-rounded person and you have other interests and the ability to do that.
Yeah.
I just
Rather
wonder if
than
there's
subject
ever
your body
any
to
way
that kind of
they're bringing
wear and
training
tear.
camp practices back to a level where they become more padded, a little bit more aggressive. Like if we lose one of those 3 preseason games, is there any world that they start to ramp back up with the intensity in practice? It's hard for me to say that they ever will go back to anything.
I always say that I really feel like there's a place for a developmental spring league that would allow NFL players, we're not talking about sending Drake May to the spring league, but we're talking about sending, we were talking earlier about Lasita Smith, right? Players like that where those guys go to a developmental league. You don't have to play 17 games, right? Like you can go and play, have shorter seasons, but that would allow, especially with the trenches, the offensive and defensive line play, live reps for some of these guys. So to Fred's point, to develop the depth of the league. Go have some backup quarterbacks play in that league too. And now you develop the backup, so when the starters get hurt, there's not this huge drop off from the starter to the backup. So you still have a competent game that you're putting out there on a Sunday. I don't know how that works with injury risk and all that kind of stuff. Like that's for lawyers and stuff to figure out. But I think they would really benefit from just thinking about some of these guys that have been on the practice squad all year long that haven't done anything probably really in months. Caleb Jones, like how many reps could Caleb Jones possibly be getting in a Patriots practice right now where he's developing, as a player? And now if he's called upon, he's just kind of thrown into the fire of, figure it out. So I just, that could be another possibility, like one of these spring leagues, XFL, whatever, and let some of those NFL guys go play in that.
Like could you get maybe a committee of former NFL coaches, like positionally, where you establish a program, like just it's not individual teams even coaching the players. It's like we want to put everybody into this development system so that, just for the good of the game, it's not so much about competitive advantages. It's about, let's get Dante Scarnecchia in and say, look, this is what we need to teach these guys to, run wide zone and to, all the different schemes that they need to be able to maybe fit in. And we're going to give them in the offseason a really intensive education and experience.
You bring up Dante. Is one of the issues now in the league good coaching?
Sure.
Particularly from the head coaching
one of Tom
position.
Brady's biggest criticisms is that the league's kind of dumbed down. So something like Evan's saying, it's not only working on the physical aspects of the game, but I think any advantage you can get intellectually too would really help the product.
Yeah.
I think coaching's a problem. I think there are more good quarterbacks in the league than there are good head coaches.
Yeah, I disagree with the caller on the. I don't think C.J. Stroud's problem is that he can't read the field.
No.
His problem is his accuracy has taken a big hit this year, and he hasn't been throwing as accurately.
And I would also say, like, the league in general, like, yesterday there were two duds. They were two games that weren't overly competitive, and that happens. And unfortunately, they were in the national window for everybody to see. They were exclusive games.
Yeah.
And it's lousy. What if it was like the week before you had the Chiefs in the Texans game? That was a really good game. Like just the Saturday before, like that was a really good game that went down to the last possession.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a good game.
That's what's just got to be alarming is that on paper going in, those look like two good teams.
Oh,
I mean, these are 4 teams all in the mix.
And turnovers made both games sort of non-competitive.
Yeah,
it happens.
It was a good card, as they say.
John, going in, you would have thought at least the Pittsburgh game would have been much more competitive.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe
sure.
Houston's kind of
Right.
Houston's kind of beat up and just doesn't seem like it has it this year. And Stroud is part of that. Like, Stroud hasn't played as well this year as he did last year.
Absolutely.
John's in L.A. What's up, John?
Marines sneaking up and back.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Quick thing. I want to recommend, like 360 days in advance of next Christmas, the movie The Ref with Dennis Leary, Judy Davis, Kevin Spacey. It's a great Christmas movie that nobody talks about.
The Ref. Okay.
Kevin Spacey.
The Ref. It's excellent. All right. So I have a quick note for the podcast only. I know because in video we can see when Deuce and Evan come back. But for the podcast, it's important to not tip that they're back. Let the song be the intro.
I see. Okay.
Whose music is that?
Just a thought.
Evans.
But I have to tell Matt
better-
that we're ready to
better
go
when
somehow.
all of a sudden, the theme song comes on.
Okay. All right.
An Atta Girl for Alex with the PU newsletter is fantastic, and thank you so much for all the hard work.
Thank you.
Attaboy for Marine Matt for being phenomenal all the time, and for all the work he puts into those the highlight reels from the previous thing. And I want to plead to the craft to please, from now on, let the PU crew be in charge of drafting receivers. Because I swear to God, it's been 20 years that you guys are always much better at drafting receivers than the scouts seem to be.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So true.
I don't know how they do it, but that there's no guarantee that, if they pick Ladd McConkey, like he would do well here.
That's,
Like,
see, that's my question: is how much of this is about who they're picking,
Right.
and how much of it is about who they're developing.
right. How they're
I guess
developing.
It's more
Right.
complicated.
Yeah.
Complicated than I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's not that much more complicated than I'm saying. And
I
you
know.
guys seem to always have, a sense of, I don't know why we're wasting millions of dollars on scouts.
Well,
And you can
Fred,
go
part
with
of
what-
part of the deal is we
draft site.
not only do we get to pick them, we have to be at practice to make sure that they're treating them correctly.
Using them,
Yeah.
employing them.
Right.
Well, also to make sure that they know you're proud of them.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Thanks, John. Thanks for the call.
Thanks,
Appreciate
John.
it.
Thank them.
Fred is. I'm gonna
Wide
just.
receiver whisperer.
Yes, I'm just gonna wait to see who Fred
Imagine
decides.
if we had Jordan Jefferson. Sorry, what's his name?
Justin.
Oh, right.
You might know
And
him.
Malik
The best
Nabers.
receiver in football.
Isn't there a Jordan Jefferson out there?
Ted
somewhere?
McMillan.
There's a quarterback
Mike.
Somewhere out
there.
there
Ted
there is.
McMillan.
Eh.
You're back on Ted McMillan? I
No,
thought
it's
you-
not for me.
Oh, okay.
It's for Mike.
Oh.
Um,
I was gonna
tall.
say, I thought
All right,
you
let's
were
get
kinda
to
down
some
I
on-
like my
emails.
receivers that get open.
Podcasts at patriots.com. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, the Patriots Unfiltered newsletter, it's patriots.com/PU newsletter. So just go there and sign up, agree to all the privacy laws and all that stuff, and then you can get the newsletter
Legalese.
It's
as
one of
well.
those privacy laws that, like, send a down payment for Paul's Toyota Camry.
It might be in the fine print.
Fine print.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Right.
It might be in the
just
fine
click.
print.
Don't worry about reading. Just click yes.
Yeah.
If
But
we
yeah.
charge like $5 for a subscription, we might be able to make it happen.
You definitely want to get the newsletter. It's part of the fun. All right. Podcasts at patriots.com is the email address. Sam from St. Catherine's is writing in.
Ooh.
He says, 2 thoughts on team building. 1, a pet peeve I have is when people talk about what teams should do in the draft before free agency happens. There's so much that can happen that people overlook. I see all the time people say, draft a tackle and go add your receivers in free agency. Free agency happens first. Well, it kind of does, but free agency is throughout. But anyway, I get his point.
Yeah.
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 No,
I do.
you got to plan ahead. Like, you got to know what your offseason plan. You got to read the board. You got
Yep.
to know the personnel. Like, sign a tackle in free agency. Who?
Yeah.
Like, who are you going to sign?
Right.
So if you're Elliot Wolf, you have to look at it and say there are no tackles in free agency. So I got to get my receiver in free agency, and then I got to get the tackle in the draft.
Yep. Second pet peeve, I guess, is I have a hard time with the notion that the fastest way to rebuild a team is to bolster the trenches. I'm not discounting the importance, but I think one elite receiver is more impactful than one elite offensive lineman. I can't wrap my brain around the thought that Penei Sewell would have been a greater impact on this current team than Jamar Chase would. For a great line, you need 5. You don't need 5 above average skill guys. What do you think about that? An elite lineman
It's kind of
versus an
simplistic.
elite wide receiver.
I'll take either one.
It's a chicken or the egg debate. I mean, look,
I agree.
I think when you have 2 guys like Jamar Chase and Penei Sewell, you couldn't go wrong with either one of those players because they're both elite, right? It's more of a question of, you think the tackle's a little bit better, but you think the receiver is going to have a bigger impact. That's when I really feel like the debate kind of gets into play. But I don't know. I mean, the teams that are good now have great offensive lines.
And
right
both
down
of
the
those
line.
positions too, like, you have that great individual and it makes the others better. Like, so you don't necessarily need 5. If you have one great tackle, he's going to make that guard a lot better.
Yep.
That happens a lot.
Yep.
And certainly, you have that top dog wide receiver. He makes the guys under him, gives them more space. He allows them to get open more and make more plays.
Yeah.
So Evan's right. Like, if you have an elite guy, it almost doesn't matter. It's not like you have an elite kicker and, a bad wide receiver. Obviously, you'd rather have the wide receiver.
Right. Darren from New Brunswick, Canada. I'm in agreement with Evan in regards to full pad practice. That said, there's a school of thought with many trainers and professional fighters in various fight leagues that they engage in less full contact sparring due to its toll on the body. Although I see the wisdom in that, I don't think that carries over to the NFL. Perfect practice makes perfect sense, he says.
Yeah, I don't know enough about boxing and stuff to make the comparison, but I just think that it's live reps are live reps. Like, if you're an offensive tackle, I just don't know how you're really going to truly develop your craft if you're not actually blocking at least 90% of what you're going to be doing in a game. I'm sure there are little things that you can work on, hand placement and feet and things like that. But until you're actually in it and are getting, rushed like you're going to in an NFL game, I think it's kind of hard.
Okay. Dustin in North Carolina writes in, I believe this topic's been talked about before, but I forget what the examples were. I think it would be fun to bring them back up. Here are my takes on what the punishment for last place in the picks contest would be. So if you're last, this is the punishment. Paul has to admit Fred is right for the whole show. That's your punishment. Mike has to wear a scuba suit with a hood for the whole show. That'd be pretty sexy. Like the old G.I. Joe dolls.
Right, oh yeah.
Fred has to order a steak well done for lunch. Oh, that would be such punishment. Evan has to go a whole show without talking football. I
think that's impossible.
That'd be torture.
I don't think I can do
that.
No
way.
That's
no
funny.
And Alex has to go the whole video show without being camera ready.
Oh, that's mean.
Yeah, that's tough.
What if you just really uglied it up? Like, try to.
I feel like I'm never dolled up on the show, which is the ironic part.
The effort. Yeah. Didn't you say like
humble brag?
It's almost like you have to try.
It is a
humble brag.
Yeah.
You get a lot of mumbling under your breath over there.
It doesn't.
Evan and I, we
it's
sit
fine.
next to each other now, so we got a little synergy going on.
Yeah. That's why I used your blanket while you weren't here. He was cold. He had to bundle up. He was chilly.
It was freezing.
And I didn't even get mad at him.
That's going on in my house. The whole thermostat thing is just my mother-in-law's there, and it's
what do you
like,
set it at? What do you
so your house is on like 80
normally
right now?
it's I have it at 67.
Me too.
But we have these mini splits. So if you're in a room and it's a little chilly, you hit that and you heat it up a little bit. But now the house is just like boiling.
And the mini splits are brutal because it's just like
hot air.
Yeah.
I hate that.
So yeah, I'm turning them down. They're turning it up. It's like a whole thing going on.
It's a whole thing.
Like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode.
Yeah, it sounds good.
That's a boomer thing.
That's
a boomer
literally
thing.
his life. Sometimes I feel like is like an episode of Curb.
Yeah.
When you tell your stories.
But this whole stadium is cold.
Oh, it's
I don't know what's going on.
Are your hands cold?
Freezing.
Just me?
They're freezing right now.
Yeah.
I'm in a
And
puffer jacket.
it's not just the studio. Like it's cold everywhere in this.
I have toe and hand warmers in here if anybody needs them.
Well, listen, we need to spend more in the off season. We're saving money now on the electric bill.
Okay.
So, Dave in Maine writes in, I've never been a tank for draft position guy, but if we go from second overall to eighth, all because of one game, I might change my mind.
Yeah.
With that said, in the last game, wouldn't mind seeing a little Joe Milton in the second half.
Right.
And by the way, my best Christmas gift this year was a Drake May jersey. However, I did get a Mac jersey after his first year, and we all know how that turned out. So I hope the same thing doesn't happen. But
ouch.
Yeah,
It's nice that someone replaced it on him.
I don't
instead
care
of
about
just
the Milton
duct tape
thing,
over
but
the Jones.
Yeah.
You should do a
I
service
get
for
why
that.
people would be really disappointed if they made a big drop down. Drop 5 or 6 spots
Dude.
with one win.
What seems like what would happen with the Bills, right? If the Bills aren't paying for anything and they win that game.
Which would make it even worse
It
if
would
it
make
happened
it-
to be that game and the Bills aren't trying.
We'll see.
But-
Angry Deuce in the postgame show.
I even think it's kind of too late to have that whole you can finish the season strong and catapult.
Yeah.
No.
That
We
was
had
2
our
weeks
Bills
ago.
game.
They needed to do that the last 5 or 6 weeks.
Now it's like literally down to I just want Caden Wallace to play. I think that might be like my only thing left. Can we just see Caden Wallace at right tackle? That's all I'm left to try.
Connor reminds us, we're all dying to know if you got the Lego Orca.
Oh yeah.
Deuce.
No.
No.
Nope.
I asked him.
No.
First thing this morning.
No
Right.
choice.
Birthday or Father's Day, we'll try again.
It was the most old man Christmas I've ever had. I already talked about the pillow. I got slippers, 2 button-down shirts, a pot, as Alex mentioned as well. Love everything,
You
but
got
no
pot?
toys.
Nice.
Not that kind of pot.
So everyone's like excited, and and Deuce is just.
It'll
sitting in the
happen. I
corner.
know.
Where's
No
Get my
toys.
Lego
Anything else on
Orca.
there?
My Legos.
It's like that insurance commercial.
I want to say that shout out to my wife. We got tickets to a Providence Bruins game. We're all going to go for a little Providence Bruins hockey game in January. So
nice. You might
that
see
was a nice one.
Matthew Patra
Down
down there.
there.
in
I'll scout it
Providence.
out for you. Yeah, I'll give you
And
a full report.
who's the other guy? Georgi Markelov.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Russian. No.
Fabian Lazelle.
And Austin
be
Rook
nice.
Yeah.
calls the games for the Providence
Oh,
Bruins.
really?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe we'll get some food down there. Providence, wonderful dining down there.
Ooh,
so,
yeah.
we'll see.
Get some Italian.
What time do you guys need to go to the locker room?
1:10.
1:10. Okay.
And then we'll be back by 1:30.
Okay.
For picks.
Chris in Colfax, California. You know Colfax?
No, I know the street, but not the. I think you've asked me that before.
Yeah, no, this is a town, I think.
No. Sorry.
Here's my plan to begin to fix the Patriots offense. First, sign T. Higgins. Next, assuming draft picks finish as is, trade down from 2 to 6 with the Raiders for 6, a 2025 second in Michael Mayer. Take Kelvin Banks with the first and trade back up into the late first and take Luther Burden from Missouri.
I like Luther Burden.
I think these moves would help put things around Drake May to succeed now and in the future.
And I like it.
I like
boxes.
I like that trade. I'm not sure
If you
that.
can make it happen, I'm all
Yeah,
for it.
I'm not sure the Raiders do, but I do like that trade.
Yeah. Little Michael Mayer though wouldn't be bad. You really liked him, right?
I like, yeah, he's kind of a
kind of a
little
push down now.
Hunter Henry-ish,
Yeah.
you know, like well-rounded, but not overly explosive receiver, but reliable.
Gives you something young behind Hunter instead. I mean, I'd be okay
Yeah.
going back to Hooper. I think he's had a pretty good year.
I don't know what the
but-
answer to this question is. Does anybody know like what exactly was the deal with Mayer this year? I know he missed some games, like personal. He was out for what? Like, is there something long term?
No, I'm not
I don't
sure.
know about
But
that.
He's getting
I just-
overshadowed.
No, but I
Yeah.
think that's a
Rookie.
great situation
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
Raiders. I mean, you can have all kinds of 2 tight end sets
Yeah.
with 2 different kinds of players too.
Yeah.
L from Wisconsin. Did I just hear Evan say Ted McMillan can't get open?
Yes.
Does he also
Yes, I
have
heard that.
questionable hands? I think I'm smelling a Patriots pick.
Oh,
See what he
I
did
was
there?
being like a little facetious about that,
Yeah.
but also not at the
Yeah.
same time.
No, I've seen a little of
You
Ted,
know, like
but,
if you have to like go and win like a jump ball in
That's
college,
not my thing.
and that's how you win down the field.
otherwise known as Aaron Dobson.
I'm just like,
Right.
Like, you know, Luther Burden, on the other hand, that guy gets open.
Speed. I
Yeah.
mean, I've said it before. I want speed. I've never been a big fan of the contested receiver guys. You know, even when they're being sold as like really good at it, it's like, but is it sustainable? You know,
See, like the only
somebody moves the needle.
right, like everybody brings with Ted McMillan brings up Mike Evans, and I'm just like, look, I watched Mike Evans at Texas A&M. That was a different breed of football player. Like
He
that
got
guy,
open.
Yeah, that guy was an unreal college player. Like that's not. We're not talking about that with Tech McMillan.
Yeah.
Drake London, you know, those types of players, like
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of T. Higgins in them, honestly. You know, like those kind of comps I think are fair.
Brandon writes in. He says, I kept telling myself there was no way a team as flawed as Kansas City would win the Super Bowl, but that's a really good team in this league. And we have to acknowledge that this is the same way we went to the Super Bowl in 2011 and 18. Really flawed team with a good quarterback in the midst of a very flawed and mediocre league.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing about the 18 team in the Patriots in that, you know, they had the great quarterback and they started to come on later in the season. They started running the ball better. Whatever they needed to do, they started doing better later in the season. And I think the Chiefs are the same way. Their defense has been playing well throughout, and now looks like the offense is starting to get into gear a little bit.
I mean, it's really hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's like, you got to respect what they've done, but at the same time, can a team get them into a shootout? You know, can a team get them where it's points back and forth and they've got to beat on the defense and, you know, really put some pressure on that Chiefs offense to, you know, break 30? I mean, that's, probably oversimplifying it, but
They just know how to win.
Yeah, and to
Yeah.
me, if it's hard to imagine, you know, the Chiefs just pulling a no-show in a big game. So that way, to me, it comes down to there's a handful of plays. Well, who are you going to bet on? Like
the guy that's been
Mahomes?
doing it for the last 5 years.
People are like incredulous. How does this team win all these games? You know, they're so lucky, and they have had a tremendous amount of good fortune. I mean, that field goal that Denver had blocked, that was a chip shot. It wasn't like a 50-yarder. So they probably should have a couple of losses that they don't, but it's not an accident that he makes the play at the end of every game. When have they not scored when they have to score?
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That's
it.
Mahomes.
Yep.
That's what Brady did
Yep.
forever.
Yep.
Like, you always seem like you had a shot. And then you're like, oh, if you could just get a stop here. You're not going to get that stop with Mahomes more often than not.
Yeah.
Right.
Does feel very 18 Patriots to me. I mean, Mahomes is much younger than Brady was at that point, but even Kelsey's like kind of on his last legs. Like Gronk was the same way in 18.
He even had a good game yesterday and still kind of looked done.
Yeah, like even in the open, like Kelsey used to be unreal with the ball in his hands. He's not that guy anymore after the catch. So like you see some of that sort of wear and tear with the rest of the roster, I would say, but like then they just win these games. Like they just
That might have been one of their best
find-
offensive games of the year. If they
Yeah.
didn't miss 2 extra points, they finally would have scored 30 points.
Yeah. Bill's in Vista, California. What's up, Bill?
Just a few.
Hey guys, this is just calling to respond to that email about the cost between fighting and football.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've actually fought professional MMA and have the chance to coach football, albeit at the high school level. But I don't really see the comparison for sure. I mean, obviously with fighting, you want to limit the contact and full spar just because there's always that crazy risk of getting hurt. And I feel like it's a hot outlier in football. But when you're hitting pads, I mean, there's nothing like hitting pads. The only way to get better at football is to play football. A lot of players need that full contact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Thanks, Bill. I think that's what the email kind of said, is he doesn't think it carries over to football.
Yeah. There's got to be a happy medium where you're not tackling to the ground, but it's physical enough that guys are.
Yep.
Really
I know
able
there's a
engage.
lot of teams, a lot of programs, high school, whatever, that hit far, far less than they used to. Even the same coaches have sort of changed their approaches.
Adam's in Missouri. What's up, Adam?
Hi guys. I really don't understand the whole thing with people dogging on Mayo for his coaching and all that stuff. Yes, it has not been perfect, but also he hasn't lost the locker room, and a ton of other teams that are this low on winning, only winning a couple games, lose the locker room, and their team's not playing for them. Every single week, players' interviews, anything like that, they're with them, they're holding against them, and that gives me hope that he will get the things buttoned up at the very end to actually put those as wins instead of just losses.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any examples of those teams that have lost the locker room?
I mean, Jacksonville with Urban Myers, I mean, that was a whole scenario, them just losing the locker room and not having it. And, like, I don't know, I feel like with them not losing the locker room, like, even with the Bears this year, he lost the locker room, players stopped playing for him, and they just had ugly losses after ugly losses.
Yeah.
And I feel like
The Bears are a good example.
But you're talking about teams that their coaches got fired.
Yeah, but we haven't done that because we still have a locker room together.
Okay.
Well, Paul, do you think if it was that bad that they might have fired Mayo? Or
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So-
Like, I mean, so we're not Urban Meyer. Great. Like, Urban Meyer was one of the biggest disasters in NFL coaching history. Like, we're not that.
Right.
We got that going for us, I guess. I mean,
but what
like,
nice.
But what do you really have to do to get
Bobby
fired
Petrino.
after 1 year? Like how many?
Oh God, that was.
That's what you have to do to get fired after 1 year in general.
Rod
yeah.
Rust.
Yeah. But there are
Like,
a
I
lot
don't-
of people saying
I just
that,
don't see examples of teams that aren't playing. Like, everybody said Dave Canales is like this guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He took his coach out. They're playing their asses off every single week. They're not good. They stink.
But
they play really hard every week. Because that's what teams do.
There are a lot of people saying that Mayo should go after 1
Even
year.
the Jets, which had
Thanks, Adam.
playoff aspirations, and it's been a complete and total mess with an interim coach. They're still playing hard with a 40-something-year-old quarterback who cannot play anymore. They're still competitive every week. Like, I just don't think there's a lot of quitting in that. Not in that league. It's too hard to play.
But
there are examples in Urban Meyer, Jacksonville, 2021 is an example.
Would you say for a first-year coach, it takes quitting for them to get fired after 1 year?
I mean, I think there's a lot of guys that have been fired after 1 year, and it's not because
not because quitting?
not just because of quitting. No.
Like
It's-
Urban Meyer, though, is like that. I mean, I think that's what
Like,
we've
that's
all
legendary.
We've
like
all
that.
said that too with with Gerard. Like that, Urban Meyer was off the field as much as it was on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Right.
so like
Viral
we
videos
always
of
make it
20-year-old
local.
girls
Use
in
like an
bars.
Ime Udoka comp, right? Of like that, something like that would have
Yeah.
to happen, right?
Right.
And we're very very far away
Like,
from
the,
that.
The
so.
Bears were very poorly coached. And by the way, not in his first year, Eberflus.
Right.
It's been there for a while.
Right.
That's why he lost his job, not because they quit on him.
How many years did Singletary coach?
Ooh, that was short.
Mike Singletary.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's all Hugh Jackson was like 8-8 in his 1 year and got fired with the Raiders.
Yeah, so something
Like,
else happened.
it happens.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break. These guys are going to head to the locker room to get what they can get. They'll be back for picks. We come back, more of your calls and emails here on Patriots Unfiltered. Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/OneRate for details. Exclusions apply.
Morning. Hopefully everyone had a good Christmas. Happy holidays to everyone. Yesterday for me it was good. Spend time with family and watch some football. I will say, you stay thinking about the Chargers as well, though. So it was a good time to spend with family, and now we're back at work. Talk to the guys a little bit about compartmentalizing. When you're with your family, you're with your family, but now it's go time, it's show time, and we have to get ready to play a good football team here Saturday. Fire away.
What's that balance like now going forward? All football in a short week coming off the holiday. What's your biggest message to them?
Yeah, it's all about football and it's about execution. It's not about the weather. It's not about any of those outside things. It's not about the family being in town. As soon as you cross the white lines, it has to be all about football. As soon as you enter these doors, it has to be all about football. We're here to win football games, and that's what we intend to do.
How much, if at all, do you talk to the players about embracing the role of spoiler?
No, we've had those conversations. And I would also say, it just goes back to whoever's playing the best that day is going to win the football game. What you did last week or the week before really doesn't matter, and that's the beauty about this game.
How much work did you guys do on Ladd McConkey in the draft? Do you remember that?
Yeah, we did some work on him. A guy that can get open versus man-to-man coverage. And look, he's playing well right now. He also does a good job finding space in the zone coverages, and he's definitely a player you got to keep your eye on.
When it came to not selecting a player like that, how much was it due to his position, being a slot receiver, and you guys having a slot receiver?
I mean, look, as a whole, I would say we're always looking to improve our roster. Now, what position that happens to be could change on a daily basis, during those times. So, look, we got the guys that we have here, and our focus is just on this game.
Tuesday, Ben Brown was listed as he didn't participate in practice, and then when the projected injury we were looking at yesterday was the same thing. Are you preparing for potentially putting Cole Strange in that position? How are you planning Ben Brown suffered from this concussion right now?
Yeah, Ben Brown's in the protocol, and once they go into the protocol, it's really out of our hands. It's in the league's hands. Now, in saying that, we have to have guys ready. And so, you think about Lecitus, you think about Cole, you think about those guys, and they got to be ready to go.
I know Kyle is healthy enough to play. He's been playing a lot. Also been listed with the same ankle injury for, it feels like, most of the season. How much do you feel like that's hampered the Kyle Duggar you know and coach when he's healthy? How big is that gap?
Yeah, I don't want to get into how big the gap is. What I will say is, Duggar's obviously pushing through something, and we all appreciate it, from our perspective. That's what football is all about. This time of the year, there are many people dealing with nagging injuries that may or may not have to get addressed at the end of the season, but he's doing his best, and we appreciate it.
Right, in the position you're at, obviously, your first year coaching, the players, as you know, have staunchly defended you, but also they've said what we've seen from him is the same thing we're trying to do, is growing from day one to where we are now, where we want to continue to grow. What are some of the things that you've grown best at and also grown with the players at doing what you do?
Look, I understand the question. It's a great question. That's more of a after the season type of reflection point for me personally. I appreciate the players and wanting to go out there and play hard every single day. I know our record sometimes it's hard, when your record's like this, to go out here and play on a down after down basis. And the guys have been doing that.
You talk about compartmentalizing, and for many, many years, nobody did it better than this team. Whenever it was facing off the field, on the field, week to week. What are the keys to compartmentalizing?
Yeah, to me, it's just, look, this is a job. It's a sport that we all grew up, dreaming of playing the NFL at the highest level. And sometimes I think, just in general, me as a player, you forget that it's a job sometimes. And that's the one thing that these guys have to remember. You can break it down all you want to on family, but it is a job. So.
We heard from Keon, who's pretty hard on himself. He's been playing, especially against them. And just in general, talking about I'll take any no moral victories from me. We're here to win, and if we're not winning, it sense that frustration. You sort of balance that with again, the hard work part of it works. If we just keep at it, maybe we'll get there.
Yeah, I think it's commendable, for Keon to sit there and look in the mirror himself. And you have to be honest with yourself. I have to be honest with myself, and so do the rest of the coaches and players. And oftentimes that's very difficult. And going back to Keon, he recognizes that, and he's taking steps to get better for these last couple of weeks of the season. That's doing extra work. That's doing extra treatment, extra in the weight room, all of those things. So hopefully we get the Keon that we all want to see here on Saturday.
What did you think of Marte Mapu's performance last week, and is he one of the players that you want to continue to see more of? And you mentioned young guys get more chances.
Yeah, it's good to get Marte out there. A guy that's versatile, smart, can play safety, play linebacker. For him to get that interception, obviously we want him to stay in the end zone, but that was a huge play. And then, I think it was the next play, he had an opportunity to get another one. And, he's another guy that, he still has room to grow, and I think he recognizes that.
You obviously seen the short week holiday and the fact that Jim Harbaugh's teams are always among the toughest, whatever level, wherever he's been. How much do you think this game might be a reflection of the toughness and focus you want to see from your team?
I'm not sure. I think the guys are dialed in. We had our squad meeting this morning, and the guys had a great Christmas with their family, and they're ready to go out here and play, and that's what we need to do.
We've talked a couple times this year about Keyshawn and kind of his growth and his development, of course, this season.
Booty.
Yeah. The last few games, the production has been pretty impressive. What is he doing now, maybe that he wasn't doing earlier?
I don't know about now. I would say, coming into the season, he's shown tremendous growth off the field. You can tell, he's really a professional. He's putting in the extra work, and it's showing up on game day.
You've seen, oftentimes coaches can see, when you're winning, guys, it's easy to see who the football players are, who really wants a kid. Have you seen that in the losing here, even though it's tough to lose? Have any players separated themselves as a guy that comes to work every single day, cares immensely? Do you see that separation?
It's I always talk about the cream will eventually rise to the top, and going through these tough times with our feet to the fire, you really start to see the guys that are with you and the guys that aren't. I would also say, you grow through pain. You grow through these types of experiences, and with our record, we all have a lot of room to grow.
Following up on Sophie's question about the center, you mentioned Lasitas and Cole. Is that a situation where they sort of are competing to step in there, or is there sort of a clear, hey, if Ben's not there, we know it's going to be one or the other?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes today.
Try to, I know you talked about the defensive talent, Durbin, Bosa, Khalil Mack the other day, but from a coaching standpoint, Coach Minter and his staff, what do you admire about how they play defense?
Yeah, for me, it's the versatility, and I grew up in a versatile defense. We coach versatile guys, and I would say, you look at their guys, defensively, they're all versatile players. I know you always talk, we talk about Bosa and Mack rushing, but those guys can also drop. You talk about Derwin James, he can play one snap, he could be in the middle of the field. The next snap, he could be blitzing off the edge, and so I think he does a good job just putting those guys in positions to go out there and maximize their athletic ability.
I know you were laughing along with the rest of us when you saw Hunter and Drake come in together for to go to the podium.
Yeah, how did that go? I just told, when I walked out here, I just said, yeah, you guys go in there, 2-for-1. And how did that go? I didn't watch it.
It went well. All right, perfect. But what is it about that connection that you've noticed throughout the season? I mean, they're coming in the podium together.
Yeah. I would, not only Hunter, I would take that entire room. When you talk about consistency, and I've talked about, we need to be more consistent as a team. But when you look at that tight end room, that's probably our most consistent room in the building right now.
Game management. game management, for someone that's never put on the headset and been a head coach in the NFL, what's one thing that maybe someone that hasn't put on the headset and done that job wouldn't know now that you've experienced it on making all those game management decisions?
I think the main thing is just staying ahead of the game. And really, it's about anticipation. And, when it's all said and done, I have to make a decision that I think is going to put us in the best chance to win. All right. Happy holidays.
And now, great moments in history.
Only been on a team like Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Who changes teams
No,
every
but
year.
I'm just talking
he
about
might not have
at his age.
that knowledge of a
All
system.
right,
That's true.
Forget it.
I was giving Eric the props. That's right. I don't understand what his age has to do with anything.
I think his age has to do with a lot. If we're talking trade, I think another team is taking into consideration the guy's age.
Right.
Don't
but
you?
why?
Because he's old.
Because he doesn't know my system? That's what you said.
No,
this is the only thing that I disagree
I
with
said-
is that he's more valuable to the Patriots because he knows the system.
That's right.
It has nothing to do with age.
But at his age, he has less to contribute to another team than the
agree.
Patriots.
I agree.
Than
And
the
that's why I
Patriots.
don't think
Why
Hightower
is that?
has... Because he's old.
About 2 minutes later.
Who's he more valuable to,
The
another
Patri-
team or the Patriots?
The Patriots.
Why?
Because he is on the
Oh,
Patriots.
forget it. You can't even answer. You forget it. It's over. It's
Okay,
over.
so...
Ding, ding, ding. It's over. Let's move on.
About 5 minutes later.
Thanks,
This is
Paul.
ridiculous. See, this is what happens. You can't
Thanks,
have
Paul.
you can't have an argument because you can't.
Thanks, Paul.
You're not allowed to disagree with Fred.
Thank you.
You're not allowed. Don't disagree. with
Thanks
Fred.
for giving me credit for that.
Don't
I
disagree,
appreciate
Fred. I'm
that.
sorry.
I appreciate
I'm
that.
sorry.
I appreciate
Did I hurt
that.
your feelings by disagreeing with you? I'm sorry.
I don't think I
I'm
sound like the
sorry.
one who's upset here.
Oh no! Oh no! You very much sound like the one who's upset. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Well, we just
Like,
have to end it at some point.
I know.
I mean, it's like I have to put down a vampire.
Exactly.
You know? It's like
Can
it just
I-
keeps coming back.
Exactly.
You gotta
You've
get
decided-
that stake in his heart.
You've decided that it's silly.
That's another great moment from
All right, back here at Patriots Unfiltered.
That was a bad one. Even for us,
They're not all great.
That one was bad.
That's one of my favorites.
You got to delete that one out of the thing. That was a bad one. I
Eight
don't
fi-
even know what we were arguing. It was so stupid.
855-PATS-500 is the. Doesn't really matter.
No.
855-PATS-500 is the TPX hotline. Did it again. Podcast@patriots.com is the email address. This is an email from Brandon in Maine. It says, I hope everyone had a great Christmas. I thought you might all like to know how my Christmas morning went. With the in-laws having spent the night and everyone still asleep, I took advantage of an early and quiet Christmas morning to put in my headphones and listen to Tuesday's PU show. After enjoying a quick coffee, nature did what nature does, and I went to the bathroom to sit on my throne in quiet contemplation. When the Constitutional is nearly complete, Mike returned from practice. Well, as you can imagine, you can't not sing along when this gem hits the airwaves. With my headphones in, I happily sang my favorite PU tune, finished my business, and left the bathroom to applause and cheers from the now awake in-laws and an embarrassed wife with her head in her hands. I can see this becoming a story to be told in the years to come, and perhaps my explanations and replaying of the ditty for all to hear will bring some new PU fans from the extended family all the best and a happy new year to all of you. So this guy was singing Mike's song in the bathroom, and he didn't know anyone was listening, and there you go. I thought they were applauding because, he finished his business.
Yeah. Good for you.
Good, yeah. Absolutely.
I will say that every time I heard Derrick Henry's name yesterday during the game, I was thinking of the song.
Oh, absolutely. Looks like Derrick Henry. So that's a good. Why is okay? There we go.
You all right?
Yeah, the mouse wasn't working.
Oh.
Good story, Brendan. Appreciate that. But it's funny how we've creeped into people's lives, even on Christmas Day. TPX hotline. Kendall's in North Carolina. What's up, Kendall?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
This question is for all of you. What is an acceptable number of interceptions for a quarterback per season? Like, what is that magic number? Like, is it 10 or keep it below 10, maybe below 15, or Like, what would y'all say the good number of interceptions?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
Thanks, Kendall.
Yeah, and I think Alex Van Pelt actually talked about this earlier in the year, and I've heard other offensive coordinators, they like to keep it, around 10 or below, ideally. Now, that number probably rises a little bit for a rookie. The less experience you have, obviously, the more mistakes you're going to make. But, yeah, I think a lot of them like to talk about, let's keep it around 10.
You like to have it less than 1 per game average.
You need to be less than that.
Yeah.
In general.
Yeah.
But if you can keep it around 10, then you're not necessarily mistake prone. So May's been a little high, but like I said, for rookies, you got to put that number up a little bit higher.
But you don't want it to be 7 if you're only throwing 10 touchdowns. So
that's
there
the
has
other
to be
thing.
like the delta, a good delta.
So that's another thing, and
Yeah.
it brings us to the game that we're playing this week with the Chargers. And I really like Justin Herbert. I think he's a pretty good player.
Sure you do.
But he hasn't necessarily been able to sort of break through. And a lot of people are talking about how good he's been this year because he's cut way down on the mistakes. So he's got only 3 interceptions. He only has 18 touchdowns. That's
Right.
not a very high number of touchdowns.
Right.
So to your point, Freddie, I would like to almost see, like, if he had 28 touchdowns but, say, 9 interceptions, I think I would rather have that.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer. I haven't watched all the Chargers games, but is he being really cautious with the ball and therefore not making any plays?
Right.
That would be my guess.
Right. Jacoby Brissett doesn't have a lot of interceptions.
No, he's
Right.
like his interception percentage
Right.
is among the very best of all time.
Right. But
he never throws any touchdowns either.
Right.
So therefore, it's not making a lot of plays.
when Brady was at his peak, it was like 40-10 or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he had one of his MVP years. He threw 36 touchdowns and only 4 picks. I think that was 2010.
Yeah.
But, even in like 07, I think he threw 8 interceptions. Like with all 50
With
touchdowns,
50 touchdowns.
eight interceptions. I mean, you're talking silly numbers.
That's crazy, because in order to get that many touchdowns, you're throwing the ball over the yard, and obviously the more you throw it, the more risk there is, and he only 8. That's incredible. That is incredible. Jeremiah writes in, pretty sure you have all heard the rumors that surrounding Garrett Wilson, most likely asking for a trade this offseason from the Jets. I know it's very unlikely that they even think of trading with us, but at the same time, it is the Jets, so I'm wondering what you think would how that situation would unfold. I haven't really been up on these rumors of Garrett Wilson.
Some people think that he'll probably be looking to be traded in the offseason. Obviously, I'd be very much interested in acquiring him. I think he's a really, really good player.
In a heartbeat.
Then he answered his own question. I just can't imagine the Jets would want to trade with the Patriots.
Would you give a first in if they gave you something else?
I wouldn't give the number 2 pick of the draft for him, no.
No? What if they gave you their first and...
Yeah. Okay, so we're switching spots with the Jets,
Yeah.
and they're throwing in Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
That's something I'd be more interested in.
I would do that right away.
Yeah.
Right away.
But they're not.
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
They're not doing that.
What are they about their second?
I don't know what they'd be looking for, but
what about Quinnen Williams and Garrett for our first? Huh? No?
Yeah.
No?
It's throwing Brees Hall. I just can't imagine.
Is there anything?
And I don't know. Like, I just can't imagine the Jets would want to trade with the Patriots.
Yeah.
With such a high-profile
the
guy
Bills
that
did
would
it.
come back but that's a little different.
And it's Drew Bledsoe.
And it was also a situation where Bill Belichick, it pains me to say, was fairly comfortable and confident that Bledsoe wouldn't come back and haunt him. He had the better team. And he ended up being right. I mean, Bledsoe played okay for the Bills, but it wasn't in a situation that he was gonna come back and get him. Garrett Wilson's a really, really good player. In the prime of his career, you would have to face him twice a year, and potentially he's like a Pro Bowl, All-Pro caliber wide receiver. I don't think that would be something you'd want to do if you were the Jets.
Yvonne from Toronto, we obviously need to upgrade our players. We have some serviceable players, but no playmakers, only Gonzalez and May. Question, it seems we brought back the same old players. Who can we cut with their current contract to bring some playmakers? yes, you'll need to take a financial hit. It's time to open the wallet and probably overpay players for them to come here and play with May. Won't lie, I'm not confident that Elliott Wolf will pick the right players in the draft or free agency. I know they brought back a lot of these guys, gave them extensions or whatever. I don't think any of them are deal breakers. None of them are.
Well,
if you
there's
cut 'em.
only a couple. I think Awenu, I think, would be tough. Barmore would be tough. Now, Barmore's situation
But he's not a
is-
guy that you'd want to cut.
No, I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
like, if you wanted to move on from these guys, for the most part, there's not. I don't worry about the guys that are under contract. They need the first part is what I would worry about. They need playmakers. They need more talent.
Yeah. Hey.
Look who's back from the locker room. What was the mood? Were the players friendly? Too bad none of them look like Derrick Henry. Hey Mike, what was it like in the locker room? Hey Mike, what was it like in the locker room?
Mike, we had somebody
everybody.
give a Christmas story yesterday. He
Oh.
was in the bathroom in the morning. He thought he was the only one awake and was listening to us on the radio on his headphones, but singing the song. When he got out, all his in-laws
Oh, wow.
applauded. He didn't know they were out there.
Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
what was it like? He's just humming to himself.
Yeah.
Good for him. Now, it's a catchy tune. I don't know. Joe, maybe she should like put some real lyrics in it and just release it as a
Real
as a
lyrics.
song,
Those are
you
great
know,
lyrics.
Like maybe T Swift will pick it up or something. But that was a quick locker room. I don't know. Maybe Alex can help out. She can jump in and help with some of the reporting. Only heard from Christian Ellis in the Revs locker room. Ellis with 2 L's, 2 S's. And they looked like they were bringing Cole Strange in as I was running down the hallway. So I'm not sure. We'll see, I guess, from the reporters what he had to say. But, not much Christian Ellis getting ready to try to stop the run. That's a big, recurring theme for the defense. So, he just was highlighting a lot of the big plays that they've given up, which I think may be worth a little bit of a statistical dive just to see, how do they stack up with big running, explosive running plays allowed this year, where they rank in that. But so I don't know. I popped in the locker room briefly. I don't know, Alex, if you noticed anything, but I will say one thing. Like I think that might be of interest to note, maybe going forward in the locker room is, and maybe not. Maybe this is just how kids are these days. But like the ratio of people with their heads buried in their phones in the locker room. Like is that something
Media
every day?
people or
No,
players?
players.
Oh, okay.
Players. And look, I know these guys are working. It's in between a practice and meetings and all that kind of stuff, and they're busy and they're maybe on break, and we're all looking at our phones all the time too. So I don't want to get too judgy with it, but I think it's like a coach. Like if I was a coach, which I'd like to get back into someday, but guys on their phones. Like I remember coaching hockey.
But they're at their locker.
I know.
I
but
don't have any problem with that.
No, never.
Alex,
No.
no boomer comments for this? What are we doing?
They've probably been without their phones for a few hours now.
Yeah.
So they're just
They're
kind of
catching
checking
up.
up.
That's what I
catching
said.
some
No boomer
messages and
comments for
stuff.
this
Yeah.
for this take.
No.
Why are the players all with
Stay
their
off
heads
my
buried in their
lawn.
phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There weren't. There were just some notable people. But
This guy.
Look, I'll tell you. Look,
He's
the
not
root of
young
this.
and hip like us.
Yeah.
Well, the root of it, what bothers me, which will probably bother you guys too, was I went in between when I was coaching a hockey team, and I went in between the first and the second period, and everyone's just head down in phones.
Okay, that's a
Like
little
game-
different. That's in
game
the middle of the
between-
game.
That's a little
Right.
different.
That's a little different.
But-
or like if you were trying to interview the guy and he's like looking at his phone while he's talking
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
I could see that
No,
too.
I'll
But
take
you
it.
you just got back from wherever, and you just want to catch up.
Yeah.
I have no problem with
You
that.
and I conducted an interview with a guy on this very radio station who spent the whole time on his phone.
2 phones.
Right?
Adam Schefter.
I don't know. I just think maybe next year I'm going to start just to take note if there's always a handful of guys who are just feel disconnected from, if there's stuff going on and guys are laughing and joking and there's always just the same, I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody, but I don't know, just something maybe to be aware of, and maybe you guys would tell me I'm dumb about that, but there's always a guy by himself in his phone. I think that's a bad thing.
Well, I will say that if it's a constant thing and guys get in the locker room, no one's talking to each other, there doesn't seem to be a lot of camaraderie, I would take notice of that.
Yeah, that was not that at all. I
Yeah.
mean, there was plenty of good energy and just random guys on their phone, which is totally normal. I mean, you walk upstairs right now, it's probably the same thing in the admin level of people checking their phones and stuff.
Well, that's
But I don't-
assuming there are people in the admin level.
That's true.
What's this today, holiday?
I mean, I remember there
No.
used to be
The week seems like a
It used to
holiday.
be the time where in the locker room they'd have the dominoes board set up in the middle,
right.
and guys would be playing, puff basketball, whatever, and it just seemed lively, and guys playing, Is it still like that, or do you ever see any of that?
They have little games set up that they sometimes partake in.
Yeah.
There's
Connect
like
Four
Connect
sometimes
Fours in
set
there.
up,
There's
but-
another one. It's like a little hoop on a string, and you have to get it to
Oh,
connect.
yeah.
But when I walked in, Layden Robinson had Del Pettis in a headlock, and they were all giggly. So I don't think that everyone's completely disconnected from each other.
That's a
It's
mismatch.
Look out, Dell. I know.
Yeah.
Rondell.
It was really funny to see.
If guys aren't having fun with each other, I
Yeah.
noticed that
They're
if I was a
having fun.
coach, like, what's wrong with the camaraderie? Are these guys friends? Are they hanging out with each other?
Yeah.
Because you want that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, Layden had him in a headlock, and then right after, a defensive contingent kind of walked in, and they were like, "Oh, you guys missed it, haha." So it seems like there's
Okay.
some good chem, good
All
team
right.
chem.
So Evan should be here any minute.
Yeah, he should be. I
Me
don't
and
know,
Evan got had an unfortunate incident walking out of this
no.
building.
What
An
happened?
unfortunate wet paint incident.
Oh, yeah. They both walked into the wall.
My back was actually covered in wet paint.
Oh,
This
you
is
did
a
a good
brand
job,
new
though,
coat,
getting
and
it
I
off.
sprinted. You saw me sprint.
She actually did sprint.
to the locker room and just took a towel and went to town,
It
and I
looks-
got all the paint off.
Yeah, it does look great.
good.
Evan got on his new sweatshirt, though.
Yeah, Evan did
Spoiler
not-
alert, Jess, if you're listening.
Yeah.
He's sorry.
He already texted her.
Poor Evan.
So he might. Does he
I
go in the
offered
locker
to
room?
take
Is he
his
just, like,
hoodie and try
scrubbing his
to.
suit?
I offered to take it for him and try to scrub it, but
Oh boy.
All right. Well, we got to wait for Evan before we do picks. But Paul, yesterday there were a couple games, and you and I didn't do too well, but
No.
everybody else did well.
No, everybody else went 4-0 yesterday. So, yeah, Mike, Alex, and Evan all got both games correct with the overall and with the spread. Fred, you and I went 1-1 overall. Both of us went 0-2 with the spread. I'll give you last week.
Okay.
Because even though we've already started
Yeah.
week
and-
17, we didn't
Yeah,
recap
and
week
he doesn't
16.
need his head inflated anymore.
So
Very true.
his heater continues.
I know.
Though. He Fred and Evan 13-3. Paul and Alex 12-4, and Mike 11-5. Solid.
pretty solid.
Keep your head up at the cafeteria. No problem. With the spread, Paul 10-5-1.
Okay.
Mike and Evan 9-6-1. Alex 8-7-1, and Fred 7-8-1.
Oof.
So, overall, season standings to date with 2 weeks left. Evan, 171-69. Followed by Alex, 164-76. Paul, 161-79. Mike, 159-81. And poop emoji, Fred, 158-82.
Even with
Gonna
that
be neck
13 and
neck
3
with
week?
me and you
Yeah.
these last two, Fred.
Yep. With the spread, Evan again 137-98-5, followed by Paul 135-105. Fred 133-102-5. Mike 132-103-5, and poop emoji Alex 126-109-5. And I know what you guys are thinking. How did Fred do in his locks of the week?
Oh, right.
Oh, Fred knows how he did in the locks of the week. 0-2
The
this
unlocks.
week.
Oh.
And the folks, this is your lock of the week picks. Fred lost by taking 3 points with the Jets, and he lost by taking 14 points with the Saints. They were both losers.
Wow.
So he's now 2-5 since I've been keeping track of the.
oh man.
Listen,
Folks,
You're
this is your
jinxing.
lock of the
Listen,
week.
it's hard to be perfect
It is.
in picks. It's hard to be perfect.
Generally.
You're supposed to say, well, what about even just a little good?
Correct.
Right.
Oh.
Waiting for that. I was teeing it up.
I mean, I feel like I was argumentative with you yesterday, so
Oh,
I wanted to take
all
a step
right.
back.
I'm giving you a softball there. All right, so we have to wait for Evan, right?
I mean, do we?
We could get started if you want, and we can play catch up, especially if he's in a panic about his sweatshirt.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start it.
Tonight.
Tonight on Prime Video, 8:15, the 8-7 Seahawks are at the 4-11 Bears.
Seattle by 4.
Yikes. Thursday night, man. All right, I'm going to take Seattle on the road. It's hard to pick the Bears right now, the direction things are going. So I'll take Seattle, lay the points.
Samesies.
Yeah, I didn't know there was going to be a Thursday night game this week. It kind of took me by surprise when I was putting this together this morning. I will take Seattle as well. Bears haven't won since the unfortunate Hail Mary.
Yeah. I'm gonna have the Bears cover.
Okay.
Not a lock, but I'm going to have the Bears cover but lose the game. All right, so we move now to Saturday, where there's a triple header, and we're going to skip over the Patriots at 1 o'clock. We're going to move to 4:30, and this is on the NFL Network, folks.
Yeah, this triple header is all on NFL
All
Network,
on NFL
right?
Network, right. Unless you're in the home market of the team playing, then you can watch it on your affiliate. But this is a 4:30 game on NFL Network. The 9-6 Broncos at the 7-8 Bengals. A rare road game for the Broncos, especially this time of year. So the Broncos at the Bengals.
Bengals by 3.5.
Interesting.
Yeah, that sounds
tough
about
one.
right. You know, I'm gonna take the hook though. I'm gonna take Denver. I'll take that extra half point. I think it's a close one, but I'll take Cincinnati to win.
Mike, I just wanted to congratulate you for using all of those terms properly.
Thank you.
Well done.
I've learned a lot in 5 years.
I think I'm gonna play it with Mike. I could see the Broncos pulling an upset in this one, but I'm gonna go give the Broncos the hook and then go with the home team to win.
I'm going to take the Bengals both ways. I'm going to lay the points.
Yeah, this is a difficult one to pick. I'm going to go with the Bengals as well, even though I hate doing that. I need to make up some ground. I think it might be too late, but I'm going to go with the Bengals to win the game. 8-10 on NFL Network. The 7-8 Cardinals at the 9-6 Rams.
The LAR by 7.
That seems like a lot. I'm going to take the LAR, but I'm going to take the points for Arizona. Divisional game. I think we all balk at giving up too many points in divisional games.
I'm just gonna go with the Rams both ways.
Yeah, Mike has convinced me. I'm going to take the LAR to win the game, but I will take the points, divisional game. I think the Rams need it, but I will take the points.
I'm going to go with the Rams. Could they be a team that
You don't want to play.
Teams don't want to play right now?
Yeah, you wouldn't want to play them.
No?
They're capable.
Yeah.
I don't think they're capable of making a run to the Super Bowl or anything, but they're capable in an individual playoff game.
I will go with the Rams both ways. 1 o'clock, we move to Sunday. Fox, 7-8 Colts at the 2-13 Giants.
Colts by 7.5.
Oh boy!
Imagine the Colts being a 7.5 point road
On
favorite.
the road, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I can't do it with the Giants. They got top pick overall written all over them. I'm going to take Indy. I will lay the points.
Me too.
I just don't love them outside, though. That's my only pause. Them at
Yeah.
the Giants is a little bit.
I'm going to take Indy to win the game, but that's too many points. I'm going to take the points. I'll regret it because I don't think the Giants have covered in like 2 months. But
And I don't. I think the Giants are going to do everything in their power to make sure they don't cover this.
that's a good point.
You know, I think this might be a mandate from up above.
Yeah, mandate game.
If you win, you lose your job, Brian Dable. 1 o'clock on CBS. 4-11 Jets at the 12-3 Bills.
Buffalo by 8.5.
That's a lot of points again for AFC East, and I think kind of pulling for the Jets here, but I don't think they can do it. I'm going to take Buffalo. I think they got back on track last week in the second half a little bit, back used to playing outside in their home conditions. I'm going to take Buffalo, and I'm going to lay the points.
As will I.
Buffalo blows doors.
Yeah. Does anybody find it interesting that they were favored over the Patriots at home by 14, and they're favored over the Jets at home by only 8.5?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the positioning, and also I think the Jets' defense is a lot better than the Patriots' defense.
I suppose. I'll take Buffalo both ways. I found it interesting because I think the Jets stink, but they get some of this.
Yeah. Do you think it's like
sort of respect?
Aaron
that they
Rodgers
don't,
generally
like they
aura?
haven't earned all year?
Respect his aura.
Yeah. I'm gonna have the. Whoa! What's going on?
We're having
No
rolling
personal-
in the kegs for Saturday's game.
We're in no personal danger, are we?
I'm gonna have the Jets covering this game.
I think we'd be safe in here from danger.
I think the Jets have done me wrong this season.
Is that a lock of the week?
Yeah. No, it's not a lock of the
Okay.
week.
No.
But I am going to have the Jets cover. the Bills. I think the Patriots showed the rest of the league a little bit of the blueprint. Yeah, for Josh Allen. So there you go. 1 o'clock on CBS. The 3-12 Titans are at the 3-12 Jaguars.
Jacksonville by 1.
Good Lord.
There's a couple of those matchups this week. Tennessee, Jacksonville is one of them.
And the next game is one too.
I don't know. You know what? I just like Tennessee overall a little bit better. That's how bad it is. I can't roll with Mac in Jacksonville
Is
again.
Will Levis quarterbacking?
Mason Rudolph played last week.
Was
did he?
in, but I don't know what his status is.
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yeah, I'll take an upset there. If you can
This is
call
like
it.
a coin flip one for me, but I'll go with the home team and the Sharps, Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm with Alex. I'm going to take Jacksonville. But yeah, bad teams.
Me too. Jaguars at home. 1 o'clock on Fox. The 3-12 Raiders are at the 5-10 Saints.
That's another one of those games I was talking about. The Raiders by 1.5.
The Raiders.
Yeah, I think the Raiders have a little bit more talent left standing here at this point in the season, even though that's probably a tenuous statement at best. But I'll take Las Vegas. Was it 1?
Just
1.5.
1.5.
1.5.
Raiders.
Yeah, the Saints have nothing to march in with. No quarterback, no coach, just. I'm going to take the Raiders only because I feel like they're a little bit healthier.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders as well. Although,
even though they're missing guys too, I think Max Crosby.
what happens to the Raiders draft standing if they win this game?
Yeah, they'll move down again. They went. I think they went from 2 to 6.
Yeah.
Because are they in the Shadira Sanders sweepstakes?
Yeah.
So
that's too late now.
Yeah.
They're already moved down to 6.
Yeah.
Right.
1 o'clock on CBS. The 4-11 Panthers are at the 8-7 Buccaneers.
Bucks by 7.5.
Oh boy, what a tough team to pick. Tampa. I will pick Tampa to win. I don't know, but Carolina's weird division game. I'll take the points for Carolina.
I'm going to split it just like Mike.
Yeah, me too. I think Carolina's continued to play well. So I'll take the points. 7.5's a lot.
Yeah. There's one where the Sharps are telling you something because the Panthers have been playing well lately, yet it's a fairly big spread. Go with it. Listen to the Sharps. It's a lock of the week. It's a favorite cover.
Ooh.
That's a new.
It's not a chalk cover, but it's a favorite cover.
I got the
right.
asterisk.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Add that one to the glossary.
Yep.
Favorite
Fox
cover.
Fox at 1. The 7-8 Cowboys are at the 12-3 Eagles.
Philly by 8.5. Anyone have any odd respect for the way Dallas has played lately?
A little bit. Cooper Rush, right?
Are they playing for their coach or?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. They have been playing better.
Somehow another team that didn't just quit.
Yeah.
Go figure in the NFL.
I wish I knew Jalen Hurts' status though for this game. Is he still
he had
I don't know.
He had
what
a
the answer to
concussion.
that. I did see that they signed former Patriot Ian Book to the practice squad. So they feel like they need a little extra layer of depth in any regard. So what is going on in the stadium?
Literally.
They're rolling in the supplies for Saturday's game.
It sounds like there's a dump truck. of
Philly
shows.
by 8.5.
See, usually we don't do a game on Friday, a show on Friday, so we don't hear that.
I'll
But
take Philly to win,
it's,
Paul.
It's a Friday here.
But I'm going to take the points for Dallas. Too much uncertainty, Paul.
What are you doing?
Philly to win, but I'm going to take the points. Those 8.5
Well,
points.
do we
for
know
Dallas.
about Hurts?
I do not.
I think
you
like,
are the only one among us
but
that
if you
has
don't
a
know
computer
by now,
open
you
in front
can't
of
look
them.
it up. It's too late.
Okay, so
Already
Philly
done.
both
Hey
ways, or are you
Siri,
taking
what is
Dallas?
Jalen Hurts' status for a Sunday?
This will be good. I'm not sure I know that one. Please check this webpage.
Does Evan know?
Oh no,
Jalen Hurts'
he didn't
status?
get the pay
He's
now.
distraught.
Hey Siri, what is Jalen Hurts' status for Sunday?
Do you know Jalen Hurts' status for Sunday?
No, but they did sign a quarterback to the practice squad.
Yes, Ian Book,
Yeah,
former Patriot.
Our former Patriot.
Show off the sleeve again.
This is useless. It gives me a stat.
Can we get a close up on Evan's sleeve?
I need a one ISO shot on my sleeve, please.
So we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. We're just going to have to fly blind on this one. That's why I took Philly.
Thank you.
You took the points.
I took Philly, but I'm going to take the points.
Okay.
I think it's
I'm
Pals.
tempted to do the same. These are two teams that just hate each other, or at least the fan bases do. But I don't know. No, I'll split it. Unless I know the status of Hurts, I'm gonna split it.
I'm gonna take Philly both ways. I think they will roll. What do you got on this one?
I will take.
I'll play catch up with you as we're going.
Yeah, I'll take Philly in this game. I think I don't see the Cowboys competing.
Seattle at Chicago.
I'm gonna
Seattle by 4.
I'm gonna take Seattle both ways in that game too. I kind of like Seattle. I think they've been frisky this year.
Okay, Freddie, what do you got? Philly.
I'm going to take
Philly Downs.
the Cowboys to cover. Cowboys to cover, but not win.
Gotcha.
4:05 CBS. The 7-8 Dolphins are at the 3-12 Browns.
Miami by 6.5.
Wow, on the road.
We're still going DTR. Is that the direction things are headed?
I do not know.
Yeah, I'll take Miami to win, but I've been splitting the baby a lot today. I'm going to split the baby on this one too. Just maybe it's cold and Miami is flat
Well,
and
good
Cleveland
point.
keeps it
Good point. They do not win if it's cold.
Fins up. Dolphins.
I am also going to go with the Dolphins both ways. I feel like the Browns have sort of given up as well a little bit, and see some of the post-game locker room stuff with the Dolphins. Like the owner gave Mike McDaniel a game ball for them winning last week and stuff. Like they're
beating a banged up San Francisco.
Yeah, but I think they're trying to say hey, this is our coach. He's not going anywhere.
I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere. They just gave him an extension. But
Yeah.
I'm with Evan. I'm going to take Miami both ways. I think they'll do their best to finish 9-8 and hope for the best with, the teams that they need to lose. But I think it's kind of psychological. You still finish with a winning record despite losing your quarterback for a month. You've had worse seasons than that.
Yeah, I'm going to have the Browns cover this game. I'm going to have them cover. Not a lock, but a home dog cover.
Barks
Home
loudest.
dog cover.
Home dog cover.
Home dog barks loudest.
You gotta get a picture of him looking like gambling expert Fred with
Denver
those
at
glasses,
Cincinnati.
the ones that are
Cincinnati by
sunglasses.
Fred, we got to go to Vegas to do a photo shoot with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna pick Denver in
Except
that game.
we can't go into a sports book or I get fired.
I'm picking Denver.
We'll stage it.
Right.
I feel like Cincinnati not loving it.
4:25 on Fox. The 11-4 Packers are at the 13-2 Vikings.
Good game.
This is a game.
This is a game.
Fun.
Green Bay by 1.
Game of the week for Fox.
Green Bay favored over Minnesota. I like it.
One.
I think Evan and I are both.
Is that because the Vikings have wrapped up their positioning?
Oh no.
No. Okay.
Vikings win 2. They're the
and you say
they're
the
the number
Packers
1
are,
seed
are favored
by 1.
Yeah.
By 1.
Well, they're separated
Ooh.
by like a game.
Yeah.
I know, but what's the point of 1 point favorite?
I don't know.
On
Why
DraftKings
why
right
the
now, they're
Sharks do that?
actually they
I-
flopped.
What do you got, Mike?
On DraftKings, the live odds, Vikings -1.
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
what
that's
ESPN says
where the
as
money's
well.
going.
So that changed since this morning.
Mm-hmm.
What do they know?
What do they know?
What do they know?
That's why I'm going.
It could be just where the money's coming.
Green Bay. Give me the Pack.
I'm going with Green Bay too.
Go Pack, go.
Go Pack.
I think the Packers are good. Like
too.
good.
Me too.
Yeah, I'll take Minnesota at home to finish off the season sweep.
I agree with Paul. I mean, the Vikings are good too, right?
Yeah,
For
no,
sure.
It's a good game.
I don't believe in the Vikings.
No?
I think the
Not yet.
Packers are the darlings of the
They are.
a
They
certain
are.
type of NFL fan.
Yep.
What's that supposed to mean?
I like
The analytics crew.
Okay, well but both these coaches honestly
No,
are
I know, but
are
I
tight
think the
pants
Packers
guys, so.
I saw something like
Barth, be quiet. We
this-
can hear
this
you in
g-
here.
Like
Barth, be careful of the paint out there.
Jeez.
it's like the only team that has like 3 or 4 good receivers and a young quarterback. Evidently, that's ever come into the league. The Packers.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in Sam Darnold yet. I feel like Darnold is going to Darnold eventually.
Yeah.
Darnold gonna
13
Darnold.
times. He's done all right. All right. I'm going to take the Vikings
Seemed like a shot.
as well.
That's
Fred, just so you know, if history is any indication, we just lost another game.
I know. When we're the only ones on an island, it's
Ev, Arizona
good.
at the LAR. The LAR by 7.
Well, I like the Cardinals, but I'm taking the LAR in that game. But I'm going to take my Cardinals to cover because
my Cardinals.
I like the Cards.
8:20 on NBC, Universo, Telexitos, and
Peacock.
8-7 Falcons are at the 10-5 Commanders.
The Commanders by 4.
Ooh.
Jets at Buffalo.
So Penix had a not that great a game, but they scored a ton of points.
They had 2 pick sixes.
Matthew Judon. Remember him?
Buffalo backs
I'll take Washington at home.
Takes it seriously.
I'll lay the points.
Washington. What do you got on that one? Washington by 4.
I'm going to take Washington both ways. I think in a primetime game, Jaden Daniels wants to put it back on notice that he's the rookie of the year. So I'm going to take Washington.
I did not see the game, but what I read was that Penix was far more effective and efficient than the box score would indicate.
Okay.
I did see the interception that he threw, that the stiff tight end that was supposed to transcend all tight ends, Kyle Pitts, pulled a Jonnu Smith and served it on a platter for the defender. So I'm going to take Atlanta on the road to pull off what I think is a mild upset.
Lock?
Outright. No, low lock.
Okay.
No lock. I don't do that. That's your territory.
I feel I've had too many dog covers this week, so I'm going to go with the favorite cover, Commanders both ways. Monday night on ESPN, ABC, ESPN Plus, ESPN Deportes, it's the 13-2 Lions at the 6-9 49ers.
Detroit by 3.5.
That's it?
Really? Well,
that's a lot of respect.
That is a lot of respect. I'm going to take Detroit, and I'm going to lay those points happily.
Lions.
Yeah, this is like a Kyle Shanahan respect spread. I feel like Lions. I don't see how this is a 3-point spread.
Yeah,
You have to ask
I'll take Detroit both ways.
You have to ask the question: why is it only a 3? There's always a reason. They don't just arbitrarily make these spreads. There's a reason why it's 3.5.
Trying to get dumb people to bet on the 49ers.
To bet both sides.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be my guess.
That's probably right.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go, but I am gonna go with Detroit both ways. Notice now, people, I haven't give you any locks this week, and the reason why is I don't take these locks lightly. If I don't feel it's a lock, I don't give it.
Carolina at Tampa. Tampa by 7.5.
I feel it's a lock.
I'm going to take Tampa, but I'll take Carolina to cover that.
What?
Anywho.
Oh, is the preamble over? I thought I would get
you
all
just
these picks.
interrupted me.
I thought I would get these picks done while you were
trying to explain to people, like, why hasn't Fred given a
Indy
lock?
at
Because
the Giants.
I have to feel it.
Giants by 7.5.
Can't just be giving him out.
I'm sorry, Indy by
It's a
7.5.
side conversation here.
He doesn't respect the wisdom you're spewing.
No, he doesn't.
Right.
Nor does anyone else. He's 2-5 on his lock of the week.
Giants to cover.
It can't be
Giants to cover.
perfect.
I don't trust Indy to cover that kind of spread.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
We go back to 1 o'clock on Saturday on NFL Network. Reminder: 9-6 Chargers at the 3-12 Patriots.
The lack by 4.5.
Ooh, that's a fair spread.
That is a fair spread. I was a little tempted to take Patriots for the points. I do think the lack will win this game. I don't think the Patriots will cover 4.5. I'm going to take the lack 27-20.
Yeah, the Patriots have been loving like the backdoor cover. I tweeted about this and people were like, "Is this dirty? This sounds intent." Like I thought that was very common
It's
gambling.
a very
in
common,
Oregon.
Very common.
Gambling
you.
parlance is very, very.
I do not blame you as a woman in the sports media to be upset about such conversation.
That's what we call sexist.
That's what I'm
sexist.
saying.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the commenters on my tweet were just trying to get a rise out of me, but it didn't work.
That happens.
Anyways, I don't think this is a backdoor cover situation. Yeah. Chargers 27, Patriots 20.
So I don't think the Chargers are going to run away with this game necessarily on the scoreboard. Their offense is good, not great. So I'm going to keep it a little bit on the lower scoring side. I'm going to say 20-14 Chargers. Patriots cover, right? No, Patriots don't cover.
They do not cover.
Yeah. I have a similar game to Evan. I'm going to go 23-17. I just don't think the Chargers are high-powered enough to run away with it. And I like the way the Patriots started last week offensively. We'll see if they can build off that and have another good start. But I'll take the lack both ways.
Yeah.
Folks? Oh,
no, it's not a folks. It's not a folks. But I do have the lack covering 27-20.
Wow. 3 27-20 predictions today.
Yep.
Jeff, Vegas at New Orleans. Vegas. Vegas by 1.5.
Well, I want that after
Can't
the
wait
show.
for that one.
I think people want to know
Accountability,
what
right?
Evan's
Right.
leading both overall and with the spread.
Okay.
People want
So
to know what Evan's
need to
We want it on
hear.
record. That's fair.
Thank you,
that's
Fred
fair.
Kirsch.
That's fair. Yeah.
Champ's here.
He's the draw. I mean, he's the draw.
Anything to
How many units have
understand
you
the
moved?
mind of
13 and 3
Evan.
last week. Your heater continues.
13
by the
and
way.
3.
Yes.
Whew, I thought that was worse.
What
than
does that mean?
honestly.
Hey, Polly, what does that mean when I see, ESPN has other gambling people and they're like, they've moved this many units? Like, what does that mean?
Unit is $100, right?
I believe that's accurate.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
I
other
think it is.
last Thursday, I come home and is doing the dishes, just like, oh, how's your day? And I was like, I'm doing awesome in the picks, and she was like, cool,
real happy. For
yeah.
you.
She was
Now,
like-
if someone says that they bet a dime, that means $1,000, I believe.
Vegas, New Orleans.
How does that?
Vegas
Why?
by 1.5.
A dime is
Oh,
$1,000.
man. Yeah, I'll take Vegas. I guess.
Okay.
I understand why, but man, that's a bad game.
Back to back. Tennessee, Jacksonville.
Oh.
Jacksonville by 1.
Jeez, can we have any good games? I'm gonna go Tennessee. I think Jacksonville knows their coach is getting fired, and they also have Mac Jones, so I'm gonna go Tennessee there.
All right, we're all caught up.
All right, folks. Well, that's it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. Remember, buy Paula Toyota. Bud is easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Get your Bridgestone tires at Sullivan Tire. And Bob's Discount Furniture is the official furniture store of the New England Patriots. So there you go. So we got...
Right as soon.
Right
yeah.
now.
Yep.
Any
We got
minute.
22 coming up with Barth and Lazar. We've got the pregame social at 10:45.
Yeah, back to 10:45.
There we go.
Although
10:45.
on Saturday.
On Saturday, is it back to No Socks?
Yes.
Okay.
No Socks is back.
So Hardy had his glorious return last week. I saw a lot of that while I was waiting for the game to start. We got the game, then we got the post-game show, and then back to Tuesday. We'll see you then.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.
Thank you.